Hey, hey, hey. It's Tuesday. What's going on, everybody? It is January 10th, 2023. Hope everybody's doing okay today. Good to see you guys. As you can all see, we're going to be looking into some new cases today. Not necessarily new, but new for us because we haven't really touched on a lot of this stuff. Of course, you know the Daniel Robinson scenario. Sean Doherty, that one has always perplexed me. We're going to take a look and see if anything has changed with Shankweiler Robinson and poor little Madalena Kojikari. Kojikari, I think I say pronounce it. I don't want to butcher it, but something we're going to look at, guys, and a few others I want to talk about that we're going to start digging into. There's not a lot going on in Idaho. There's not a lot we can do with that until the trial starts. So it's time to move on, guys, and show some attention to some important things that need looked at, guys. What's up? What's up? How are we doing today, everybody? I'm sorry, Tiffany. Well, I just have been keeping busy over here, and it's kind of hard running these things, so I gotta keep my attention focused where I can. That's all. Yeah, Shankwella. That situation was not fun. But let's see who we have here. And again, thank you, Miss Schmooby, so much. Again, guys, there is some sensitive content involved here. Please feel free to leave if it's something you're not comfortable with or interested in. We will miss you, but I would definitely not want anybody to be uncomfortable. And thank you for that. Miss Schmooby Cakes, one of my amazing moderators, as all of them are. Well, you're more than welcome in here at any time and place, Miss Tiffany. Just so you know that all the time. And I appreciate you. I appreciate your feelings on that very much. So, again, mods, thanks for being here to do all the great work that you do. It's great to have you guys here today. I'd like to thank Mama Bear for the title page she built up here for me. It's amazing. She does very good work, guys. Give her a round of applause for that, as do all of my moderators. They work so very hard for me, and I am so very appreciative of that. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Poopa. So let's see who we have in the house here today with us. Of course, Poopa. Good to see you, my dear. Strike first, strike hard, our little brother. Great to have you, brother. Thank you, as always. Good golly, Miss Molly's in the house. Love, 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 love. You too, my dear. Mama Bear, the amazing Mama Bear, is here to help us as well as always. On the mic, my brother, it's great to see you. Great to have a little more testosterone around. There's only a few of us guys in here, but hey, we love our ladies, so that's all that matters. Again, thank you for joining us today, Miss Tiffany. That's awesome to have you here. CC, the sweetest lady on the internet, is joining us as well. Thank you so much for being here with us, CC. We love you and miss you. Let's see. He has a troll son, so when do you think he was trying? Oh, I will not. Wouldn't worry about that, Fupa. No worries. You'll never have to deal with that over here. Let's see. Cat K's in the house. Looks like you got your notification. Look at all these meatballs that came in to float around in this lovely sauce with us today, guys. It's so great to have you guys here. Smoothie Cakes, of course. So great to have you. Welcome, welcome, Squirrel Sandwich. Good to see you, my dear. Thanks for joining us today. Let's see. Did I get everybody? Oh, no. Miss Vicky H., thank you for joining us today. T2014, it's great to have you here as always. And I think that might be it for this moment. Let's let everybody get themselves together and jump on in, guys. I don't know how that's going to work for you, Fupa. Oh, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I miss you guys. It's been a couple of days. What's up, Donna? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Yes, my internet's not been playing well with me, but I've been yanking some strings and making some noise, and they are coming here to fix my internet, they said. And I'm getting my routers moved and new wiring, and they're saying it has nothing to do with my signal here, but it's not true. Then I told him, I said, I'm not paying another bill until you give me what I pay for, period. So we'll see what happens. And they were supposed to be here today, but he said the brakes went out on his truck. Whatever, guys. It is what it is. He said he'll be here tomorrow. They're going to move my modem, give me another modem, blah, 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 blah. We'll see what makes a difference. And I'm going to plug directly into the modem. That should change some things for me, I'm thinking, because I have direct signal then. So we'll see if that makes a difference. And they're checking the lines up and down the road. I got a hold of corporate office again through the Chamber of Commerce, believe it or not, and talked to somebody up in corporate level, and they're not happy with me calling them. So that being said, that means I will be getting some stuff done, period. So you're always welcome here, Miss Fupa. You know that. Always, always, always. And anywhere that you're not welcome, that's their loss, because you're an amazing, amazing lady. So thank you for joining us. Again, guys, as you can tell, we're moving on. Okay. I know I don't want to say it like this because it is an important case. We've spent a lot of time on the Idaho case, guys. A whole lot of time. It's a very important case, and it was, we all wanted to know. Okay. We all wanted to know what the scenario is. We still want to know. We're still gonna know. Because I'm following the trial as well. But I feel like there's a lot of things going on out there that I think that we're a good community. I think we're a very good investigative group. I think we do great think tanks, all of us together. That being said, I think some other cases deserve us, and they haven't been getting it, guys. That's my opinion. I'm not the greatest thing out here. I don't think, of course, none of us are professionals, but I think we do very well. And I think that it would do us well to get these other cases' names out there, if anything. So that's what we're going to be doing, guys. We're going to be spending some time doing some new stuff and some old stuff revisited. We all know what's going on with Shankwella, the Madalena Kojikari case, Daniel Robinson, very sad. And the Sean Doherty case, it's flabbergasted me from day one. And I've never been able to get that out of my head. We're going to be checking into that. And there are a small handful of a couple new cases we're going to be digging into, guys. But of course, I wanted to bring that to you first. So this is what we're going to be doing. Maybe a little bit of cold casing, to keep these cases from going ice cold. Just, getting them back out there word for word. We need to find some of these kids and some of these people, guys. We need to try to find some of these people and find out what happened. That's my opinion. I think we need to try to help find out what happened in some of these cases. And it's important, guys. I know there's a lot of people doing stuff out there with these cases, but some of these cases aren't even being touched anymore. I haven't seen anything on Daniel Robinson or Sean Doherty in months. And I mean months. And like Molly just said, the Sean Doherty case, it's flat against a brick wall, nothing. And that one bugs me a lot, you guys. That bugs me inside. As you guys know, I get personal with some of these. That one really bothers me. There's something completely wrong with that whole scenario. Daniel Robinson, that case, that's very sad, and there's not a lot anybody can do, but we can take a look at these and see if we see anything that may have, you never know, guys. We could look at this same case for 3 years and miss one little thing, and it could be the one little thing that means the whole world to everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think we need to do this. And there's a lot of talent in here, guys. All of you guys, that you guys are very, very, and I call you very investigators, because you are. Squirrel Sandwich, Molly Drake, Mama Bear, all of you, Schmovie, all you guys are such great investigators and diggers and come up with some really great stuff. Why waste it on one case that we've already kind of got the idea of what's going on with? Everybody, I was getting DMs from a lot of people about the Idaho case. I get it. We covered it. That's why we kept going back to it, because people kept sending me DMs. We want to look at this. We need to look at that. We should talk about this. We did. We've talked about everything we possibly could on that case. And yes, we have our thoughts on that case, but at this point, guys, there's nothing we can do. And when the trial hits, I will be covering it. That's not a problem. You guys know that 100%. But at this point, there's nothing we can do until trial starts. So we're going to kind of leave that one alone. Not to say that, something new were to pop up. We're not going to talk about it. And it is still open, Fupa. Yes, it is still open. We've talked about that. I thought it wasn't, but it is still open. And I told you guys before that I was leaving Kylie alone. If something pops up, we will talk about it, but I'm not going to spend months upon weeks on the same thing because it's not worth it, you guys. We would drive ourselves insane. We will drive ourselves insane. And that's 100% as to what it is too. Like, I know she didn't drive herself into the water. You guys know she didn't drive herself into the water. That's why the case is still open, because they know she didn't drive herself into the water, and it's not an accident. It was not, and that's why. So, end of story. And when we find out who drove that car into the water with that poor little girl in the back seat or in the trunk, we will solve the case. Period. That's all I can say. We know that. Thank you so much, Miss Cece. I do appreciate that so very much. In which case are you talking about there, Miss Donna? Are you talking about Sean Doherty? I had heard that too. It's not an accidental drowning. It's not an accidental drowning. Sorry. It's really not. And I'll say this one time, and you guys have heard me say this before. The reason why I know it's not an accidental drowning is because there was no water in her stomach nor in her lungs. If she would have drowned and passed away from drowning, there would have been plenty of water in her stomach and in her lungs. That was my point, Molly. That was my whole point. Let's see. That was my point. So again, thank you guys all so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. Trying to. Why does this keep coming on? Okay, that's weird. I was just trying to wait to see who else may join us today. Hopefully, we get some more peeps here. I can bring this down for a minute. Sorry about that. You did not go deaf. No worries. Welcome, April. Good to see you, my dear. Thanks for joining us today. I started with Gabby. I'll tell you what. I'll be honest with you, with I started in true crime with JonBenet Ramsey. That's when I got super involved in it, okay? But I didn't have all this. This wasn't going on back when JonBenet went missing or was murdered. I'm unalive, sorry. So that was, no, nothing could come from that. And then Casey Anthony, I did all this with notebooks and notes, and that's pretty much how that worked. Okay. So you know, it is what it is. So, and then um, I think my last case that I did without being on the internet was Gabby and Brian. Okay. Yeah, Gaddy Petito and the Brian Laundry thing was the last one. And then right after that, I jumped online and I started doing little bits here and there and there. And, you know, with, I think Kylie Rodney was the deep jump right into true crime. And there we are. So, but I've been doing this kind of stuff and looking into this stuff for years, guys, years upon years. And I had a computer to look things up back for what John Bonet, but we like there wasn't that I knew of. At least I didn't know really much about YouTube and how that was going, so I wasn't on here. Same with Casey Anthony. The Pizzagate, yeah. Summer Gabby. No, actually, no. Summer was the one that I started really doing it with. So yeah, that's true. I forgot. God, shame on me. But there's just so many, you know. Yeah, Summer was my first online too. Absolutely. That's when I started doing this with Summer Wills. Actually, is when I started transversing from where I was into this. So, and again, here we are. Here we are. So I don't know what's up, Alexis. Thanks for joining us today. Again, I missed you guys. It's been a minute. I've just had stuff going on, so my apologies. You know, real life takes its toll on everybody, and it keeps us busy sometimes. So, yeah, well, that's to be honest. Schmooby's right. When I was really into this back in the day, when I was watching Nancy Drew Hardy Boys type stuff and reading books about this kind of stuff and all that, and I just, you know, becoming a teenager in your 17 18 years, you start worrying more about girls, and then you have kids, and then you got to work, and then this happens and this happens, that happens, and life goes on. And so it's always been an interest of mine. Welcome, Miss Boone. Good to see you. I think I saw that, Miss Boone. It's kind of interesting. Madeline McCann, I remember that too. Yes, I do, Fupa. Very sad case. What's up, Jen? Good to see you. Come on in, guys. Get comfortable. Good to see you guys. Good to have you guys here. We missed you as well. Let me see. Yes, I have watched Crime Circus here and there. I think I showed you guys a couple pieces of some of his stuff. Was there something new that you saw there that was interesting to you, or maybe that I didn't see recently, or Ted Bundy, the straight. Oh, interesting, Miss Vicky. I read all those books about all those guys back when I was probably 16 years old, 14 to 15 to 16 years old. Let me see here. What have you seen? He's got 3 on. Oh, okay. What in regards to, yeah, Crime Circuit? It's definitely interesting the way he does things. A little different, but you know, it draws the attention. That's what he needs. Let me see. What was I looking at here? All right. Where are we at here? Okay. Yeah, I've been listening to him too. So, one moment, everyone. I'm sorry. So I have it's care of Just In. It's called. Give me 1 second, folks. There's a lot of stuff that I have looked at recently. I guess you can consider it maybe update wise in regards to Shankwella. Um, that it's basically proof, in my opinion. Uh, I have something audio about the other girl that had assaulted her by the name of Winter Donovan. Um, basically, starting the whole thing. So there's some info on this as far as this goes, but as far as I'm understanding, the one woman that actually physically attacked her has not been extradited to Mexico yet, sadly. So there's that. True crime time has good videos of connecting me. Okay, gotcha, Poopa, gotcha. Let's see here. Make sure I'm getting everything here. Getting you guys together. Okay. All right. Got to that. Yes. So, here, let me give this. I'll start this off with the this audio for you guys to hear. I do not know, Donna. I have not heard that they have, but I haven't heard that they haven't either. So I don't know. I haven't really looked into a whole lot of that. They did some other things with her body as well, Fupa. That's one of the scary things that I'll be letting you guys in on. So, let me get you guys this audio going, and we'll move from there. I don't know how many more people are going to jump in, but we'll catch them up either way.
He told her to. That's right.
Yes, that is right.
And I got some other stuff. Here we go. And that's her basically stating they wanted her to fight. Let me get you guys rolling with this one. Again, this comes from Just In. It's a news source. And let's see what we can go with, guys. 1 second here. It's pretty sad, to be honest with you, Donna. It's sickening. It's very sickening. Here, I'll let you hear it again, Molly. It's hard to hear. It's very hard to hear. But let's see what we can do here.
Terrifying new audio leaks have unearthed some incredible evidence in the Shankweiler Robinson case. This audio clearly shows that
Oh, sorry, guys. Hold on.
Shankwella did indeed get involved in a fight because she was forced into one. But who is that person that the audio mentions? Just who is Donnie Jackson? Keep watching as we break down the complete leak in this video. Since the news of her death spread, a video of one of her friends, apparently Donnie Jackson, beating up Shankwella before her untimely death has surfaced online. Jackson's picture is also doing the rounds on the internet. A naked Shankweiler Robinson can be seen in the video being beaten up by a woman. The victim's companions remained in the room and recorded the vicious attack on their phones. A friend can be heard cheering on the attacker at one point in the video, while another man remarks, "At least fight back." The names and images of the friends who accompanied the 25-year-old victim have surfaced online since the video went viral. Many people have questioned the innocence of Carlo, Winter Donovan, Alice Hyatt, Dejani Jackson, and Nazir Wiggins. Winter Donovan is the woman speaking in the earlier audio leak. Because the names of Robinson's friends were discovered on the internet, the six allegedly deleted their social media profiles. Although there isn't much information about Jackson online, netizens shared an image of her LinkedIn page on Twitter. Dejani Jackson's LinkedIn profile describes her as an aspiring healthcare professional. Her biography also stated that she attended Winston-Salem State University. She also worked at Blue Rhino in Greensboro, North Carolina, according to her biography. They are a propane tank exchange brand, according to the company's official website. Given the amount of abuse and attention Jackson has received online, it is unclear whether she is still employed by the group. But why did they even fight? Well, that's been answered in the audio leaks too.
They did have a fight. That's y'all will see. That's going viral. They were fighting because Carla did some crazy shit.
In a statement, the State Attorney General's Office of Baja California Sur, Mexico, said it had filed an arrest warrant for a woman as the likely responsible person in the case, adding that an investigation revealed that the death was the result of a direct attack, not an accident. Mexican authorities did not name the culprit, but we can pretty confidently conclude that it was Dejani at this time. According to Shankwella's father, Bernard Robinson, the FBI had also begun an investigation into her death then. Mr. Robinson claims that some of Shankwella's friends initially told her mother that she died of alcohol poisoning. However, a death certificate acquired by a Charlotte television station, WSOC-TV, from Mexican officials identified the cause of death on Oct. 29 as severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, or the dislocation of a ring-shaped bone that supports the skull. According to the certificate, Ms. Robinson was found unconscious in a living room at an address in San Jose del Cabo, Mexico, and died about 15 minutes later. There was no mention of alcohol toxicity. Mr. Robinson expressed disbelief that Mexican officials had permitted his daughter's friends to depart the country following her death. He stated she had traveled from Charlotte to Mexico on Oct. 28, one day before she died. "I can't talk for her, but I am going to be her voice," Mr. Robinson said in an interview. "I'm going to be her voice to the end because I'm going to get to the bottom of this." The State Department forwarded inquiries about the inquiry to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, but stated that it provides consular support to family members when an American person dies abroad. She was a growing, sweet-hearted person, loved people, loved her friends, loved to have fun, Mr. Robinson said. Just a smart, intelligent person. He stated that he had no idea why somebody would attack his daughter. He did, however, claim that he recognized her in the viral video. According to Mr. Robinson, it shows Miss Robinson in a bedroom being hit in the head and kicked repeatedly by a woman. It was her, Mr. Robinson said. "She's not a fighter. She didn't believe in drama. She wasn't raised like that." And that much was confirmed by what came later in the leaked audio.
He basically told her to, let's fight. I don't want to drag you out of the bed. I'm closing I want to, and that's how that happened.
And now for the biggest bombshell. The truth is finally out, and it is as always thought by the public.
Unfortunately, she did die because of on the bed. So y'all see something in the video, don't mean that happened. They're just trying to cover it up with a broken spine and whatever else.
So Shankwella did die because of the fight. That was always the opinion of many, and it has finally been confirmed by Winter Donovan, someone who saw it unfold. Emergency responders treated Shankwella in her apartment for over 4 hours before she died, according to a police report obtained by Gerardo Zuiga, an investigative reporter from Metropoli MX. According to the investigation, the alarm was raised at 2:23 p.m. on October 29th, just one day after Ms. Robinson and her pals arrived at the luxurious resort. An hour later, a doctor arrived to find Shankwella verbally unresponsive. She had a seizure not long after that. According to the police investigation, Shankwella's friends ignored the doctor's instructions to transport her to the hospital, preferring she stay at the resort. An ambulance was called only when death was imminent. Ms. Robinson fell into cardiac arrest, and a doctor reportedly performed 14 rounds of CPR on her, as well as 5 doses of adrenaline and 6 defibrillator discharges. These efforts proved futile, and she was pronounced dead at 5:57 p.m. This 4-hour tale appears to contradict Ms. Robinson's death certificate, which states she died 15 minutes after suffering a fractured neck. Indeed, it's unclear if the doctor who treated Shankwella was aware that she had a severe spinal injury or whether her friend's insistence that she had alcohol poisoning influenced the care she received. This certainly seems to contradict what Winter mentioned in the audio, alleging that the officials covered up the death by saying she did not have a broken neck. Autopsy reports would say otherwise, so we'll chalk that one down to Winter trying to save her own neck. Actually, it wasn't a quarrel, but instead of direct aggression, Daniel de la Rosa Ania, a prosecutor for the state of Baja California Sur, told Metropoli MX, "We are carrying out all the pertinent procedures such as the Interpol alert and the request for extradition to the United States of America. It's about 2 Americans, the victim and the culprit." That corroborates what Winter says about the DeJeanette and the audio leak. And now for perhaps the most startling part of the audio leaks, it appears that DeJeanette was not the only person that fought Shankwella. Now that opens a completely new can of worms. And it could also explain why the investigation into the case is taking so long. If there are multiple suspects in the murder, it could take a while to get them to fess up. Dr. Carolina Beatriz Ornelas Gutierrez, a medic from the neighboring American Medical Center, came to the Villa Linda 32 resort at 3:15 p.m. on October 29. According to the police report, medical evacuations are rather typical for U.S. tourists in Mexico. According to the police report, which is in Spanish, Dr. Gutierrez was told Shankwella had a lot of alcohol and needed an IV drip. According to the medic, Shankwella looked to be intoxicated and was unable to speak vocally. She urged that the patient be taken to a hospital right.
And that's the problem. She wasn't intoxicated. She couldn't speak because her spine was detached from her brain. Okay? It had nothing to do with alcohol, guys, because the alcohol levels in her system were non-existent, basically. Welcome, Sherry. It's good to see you. And yeah, Molly said it. There was a video I showed you guys once before, early on. Excuse me, when we touched on this. It was her walking to the bedroom that she was assaulted in, because it wasn't a fight. This was an assault, blatant attack, assault, a physical assault on her, and nobody defended her. Nobody stopped it. So they're all, as far as I'm concerned, and there was the girl that you heard talking, by the way, she assaulted her as well. Her name's Winter Donovan, okay? She didn't do as much as this girl here did, DeQuandre Jackson, but the point is it was a physical assault. There was no fighting because she did not raise her hands. She didn't raise her hands to defend herself once, guys. Not once. She didn't swing, nothing. It was a physical assault, an attack that was premeditated before they even went to Mexico, that they were going to get her. Her best friend, which is this one gentleman here, I haven't said his name yet, but he helped set this up, which was her best friend. He's the one that was filming this, telling her to fight back. There was no fight. They attacked her. She was assaulted and murdered her, unalived her, in my opinion, if you look at it that way. You could see partially in part of the fight video, they were this girl who was 3 times her size was punching her at the base of her spine, okay, right behind her lower back and back of her neck. You hit something hard enough, eventually it's going to break, guys, and she was flung around like a rag doll. No, Cece, none of them. None of them. There's 6 of them, and none of them have been arrested. Every single one of them needs to be extradited to Mexico, and they need to face charges there and be arrested and do time over there. Exactly, Fupa. I believe alcohol is traced upon every death just due to bodily functions, not from consumption. Right, I agree, Tiffany. Yep, he was. That's why he was facing some time. Exactly. It's disgusting. The whole thing is completely and utterly disgusting. I've said that from the day one with this, but there's nothing new with it really, other than these things I'm showing you. Yeah, and then they went home. They took her luggage home. They said they were doing her a favor to her family after they robbed her of a certain amount of money that was in the luggage we found, I had seen and heard. They went to her family's home and were there with them for a couple of days. Were nice, telling it, being family-like and friend-like, right? Until the autopsy report was released. And then they disappeared, you guys. Because then the true cause of death came out and they were all gone. So, and again, as I just said, the one gentleman, her absolute best friend out of all of these people, is the one that set this whole thing up. And the saddest part of this whole thing is she paid out of pocket for this, for everyone to go. It's not cheap. It's not cheap to go on a trip like this, okay? She paid out of pocket for every bit of this, for all of these people that she thought were her quote unquote friends to go. And this is what happened. And it was a whole plan. All and completely premeditated. So yeah, they did. They completely took off, Molly.
Away, but her friend.
It was like 17,000 total, I think, Molly, is what the whole amount. But yeah, you're right. After it's just this is just I mean, it's just disgusting. The whole thing is disgusting. Yeah, I think the trip was like 10 grand, and then I think there was another 7,000 stolen out of her luggage. Everything was cash. Everything was paid for in cash. It was all because she was doing well for herself. Okay, so she had all this money she took with them to do everything. They weren't even there a full 24 hours, and she was done. It's very sad and disgusting. It makes me sick. Welcome, Miss Cheryl. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. So, initially law enforcement kind of dropped the ball over there. They didn't step up and do what they should have done. The friends disallowed, as you heard, her to be transported to a hospital. She may have still been alive. We don't know. Okay. But they kept her there purposely because they were probably scared they were going to get in trouble if she was taken to a hospital, and they would have seen that she had bruises all over her, that they would, she was beat down, beat up, and that they could have been held responsible. That's why they denied it until it was too late, sadly. So let me finish this video up here.
Friends were adamant that she stay at the resort. According to the police report, Shankwella began having seizures at about 4:20 p.m. Shankwella was fighting to breathe, and her pulse had dropped, according to the doctor. According to the investigation, Winter Donovan dialed 911 at the time. The phone number indicated on the document for Ms. Donovan has been disconnected. After determining that Shankwella no longer had a pulse, the doctor began delivering CPR at 4:49 p.m. Shankweiler received 14 rounds of CPR, 5 doses of adrenaline, and 6 defibrillator shots in all.
I'll be right back,
she
guys.
was pronounced dead at 5:57 p.m., with cardiopulmonary arrest reported as the cause of death. In a statement to ABC News, the state attorney General's Office of Baja California said investigators were collecting more evidence to achieve the accurate clarification of the events without ruling out any hypothesis. This statement now seems a lot more understandable in the context of the audio leak where Winter says multiple people had been fighting that night. But if Shankwella was in danger, why did nobody jump in? Well, here's the answer from Winter herself.
My friend is going through something, we're gonna fight it out. So that's just that. Nobody's gonna jump in. And that's just what happened. After she fell, she was not dead. So what are you talking about?
Shankwella's mother, Shankweiler Robinson, told CBS News that her 6 friends had come to see her and had offered conflicting accounts of the events leading up to her murder. They claimed her daughter died of alcohol intoxication and her body was discovered by a maid. No one told the same story, so I never believed them anyway, she explained to CBS News. So there it is, folks. That's a lot of truth finally coming out. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, goodbye.
Breaking news on the evidence used to find, track, and arrest the suspect in the Idaho student murders is released, including details of a surviving roommate in the house encountering a masked figure at the crime scene and new details on the
Yeah, we're not doing that. Sorry, guys. Anyway, it rolled over. But yeah, that so that is, for anybody that didn't know, how that all went down. Right. Exactly. Molly, that is correct. And like I said, that one bugs me. It really does bug me a lot. Yeah, it's interesting. I'll say that much, Donna. It's really, really sad too. Excuse me very much. Very sad. 1 second, guys. Let me try to find. Nope, that's not the one. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Bring it up. Bring it up. Where'd it go? I think, did you guys hear? I hope you guys heard it clearly what it was, what she said. But she was basically just stating, you know, when something, me and my friends, the one thing she said was me and my friend is going through something. We gonna fight it out. It wasn't like that though. There was no fighting. She was attacked and beat to death, basically, guys. She didn't fight back. She didn't have a chance really to fight back. Okay. And I think she knew that if she were to fight back with this girl, that the other one was going to jump in anyway. And she had no chance. Okay. And plus, like her father said, she doesn't like to fight. She's not a fighter. Not everybody is a fighter. So what's up, Christy? Good to see you. I don't know, Miss Donna. I don't know at all. But it's a very, very sad situation. And at this point, there's been a warrant issued and released for Dejanay Jackson, the girl that was assaulting her in the video. Okay. Thus far, that's the only one that there's been a warrant issued for. And she still hasn't been extradited back to Mexico, sadly, because of our Justice Department. It took quite a while, Miss Molly. You heard them say they did 6 rounds of CPR. They also used the defibrillator multiple times. They also injected her with epinephrine in her heart. Nothing. Her heart would not restart. And here's the thing. If she would have been taken to the hospital immediately, there's a very good chance she would have survived this, but she wasn't. And this had nothing whatsoever to do with alcohol. That's the disgusting part. This was very simply because she was literally beat to death, guys. Period. She was. Schmovie said ambush. This was planned before they even got to Mexico, you guys. 100% planned. The story that I had heard initially was that somebody else, the cousin of the Dejanay Jackson, had been unalived in some scenario. And that whatever Shankwella supposedly did was what put him in that situation. Thank you, Cece, so very much. I do appreciate that. So this was retaliation on her part. Now, we don't know how true that is. We don't know if that ever happened, if that was just a stupid excuse that was brought up because of, to make it look good. But either way, this is a clean-cut case of unaliving someone as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry, and I don't care what anybody calls this. Now, there was another video through the same media group where her mother, Shankwella's mother, put something out there that is kind of important. Oh, right, Anna. Exactly. That's exactly why. And the friends, they're not friends, first of all, Molly, but the reason why they didn't allow them to take her to the hospital is because they would have known what the actual scenario was, that there was no alcohol poisoning. And that would have put them all, then they would have wanted to know who did this. There's video of it. It would have been proven eventually. So that's that right there, in my opinion, is the reason why they did not allow them to take her to the hospital, which would have saved her life, I think. Just from what I know, my medical experience, my wife's medical experience, my mother's medical experience, the things that we know in general, common sensual things, she'd have still probably been alive, guys, or could have been, helped, but wasn't. So it is very sad, you guys, but I'm going to have you check this one out too. This is her mother talking about something that's kind of blew my mind a little bit too, but wait till you hear this one, guys. Thank you again, Miss Cece. Yes, guys, please, if you haven't, hit that like button on the way in the door. If you'd like to wait till the end of the video to see if you like it, that's fine too, but please do remember to hit it to keep us in that algorithm, everybody. I do very much appreciate that. Thank you, Miss Donna. No worries. All right. Here we go. Again, guys, let me know if the audio is okay. Want to make sure you guys are hearing everything okay. Again, if anybody would like to support the channel, me and the channel, I do have up the Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App links there above on the screen there. Thank you so much for that. If you do, very much appreciated. If you can't, please don't think twice about it. It's not a big deal. Thank you. It's just enough for you guys being here to support me this way, and I love you guys for that alone. So thank you so very much. Moving on.
We mentioned that you were initially told that your daughter had alcohol poisoning. So can you talk a little bit more about when you first found out that your daughter had been hurt, had died, what you were told, and what made you question what you were told?
Well, I received a call on Saturday saying that my daughter was sick and that she had alcohol poison. But her doctor had never arrived, so I don't know where they got the alcohol poison from. So at that time, they said a doctor was on the way to examine her.
As Mexican authorities push for the extradition of an American suspect in connection with the death of Shankweiler Robinson, her mother has spoken about one conversation she had with her daughter's vacation travel associates. The mom said the women talked to her about outfits they planned to wear to her funeral, but never once revealed there was a fight between Shankwella and at least one of the girls that contributed to her death. So, what were they trying to hide, and did they even attend the funeral in the end? Let's find out. On Wednesday, December 7th, an interview with Shankweiler Robinson, the 25-year-old's buried mother, debuted on the ABC News program Nightline. While Shankweiler spoke about how she wakes up every day with her daughter on her mind and how certain pictures make her cry. She also mentioned how she found out the story her daughter's ostensible friends told her about her demise most likely was not true. Shankweiler said she received an anonymous phone call telling an altercation between the Charlotte native and someone on the trip. They said they were over there fighting that girl. The mother recalled the caller saying, and that's the way they left it, just like that. Said they were over there fighting her. I don't know why they keep telling her alcohol poisoning. After receiving the tip about an assault, Shankweiler confronted the group when they came to her house for a visit. They were crying. They said they never had a fight. They even sat here and said they were picking out what they were wearing to the funeral. The mother said in disgust. She said they made the comments after hearing family members talk about the memorial service colors and plans. As the family continued to plan for the services, more details poured in about the day Shankwella died. The news seemed to contradict the story the vacation companions had been sharing. The autopsy stated Shankwella died from a severe spinal cord injury and a dislocated neck, leading the Mexican authorities and the FBI to take a deeper look into the circumstances surrounding the October 29th death in Cabo. This, coupled with a video of one of the women in the villa beating her up, led Mexican law enforcement to classify the death as femicide, a slaying of a woman because of her gender, and saying the death was caused by a direct attack. Mexican authorities subsequently issued an arrest warrant and requested that one of the travel associates, an unnamed suspect, be extradited from the U.S. to face charges. Shankweiler confronted one of Shankwella's friends who lived nearby regarding the inconsistencies. He broke out in a sweat. He came out his shirt. He was sweating so bad, it's like it was eating him up. She did not reveal the friend's identity. One Mexican publication, citing a source that did not identify, reported on November 29th that the woman in question is Dejani Jackson and that she has already been arrested. Shankweiler told our sources that her daughter left the U.S. on October 28th with a group of 6 people, who she believed were her friends. On October 29th, those individuals informed the Robinsons that Shankwella was sick with alcohol poisoning. Ms. Robinson said she later spoke with a woman who told her Shankwella had died. She continued communication with that woman, she claims, until she received an autopsy report that revealed Shankwella had suffered a broken neck and a severe spinal cord injury before dying. I couldn't confront them really because they were gone, Shankweiler later said. I did talk to the police.
Yeah, and that part, let me reiterate that, you guys. The video that I had showed you guys way back when, where she's walking through the villa that they were staying in, she wasn't wearing any clothes. They set her up and told her they were all going to be that way, okay, unclothed. And she's like, how long does it, in the video you hear her saying on her phone, come on, y'all, where are you at? How long does it take to get naked, blah, blah, blah. She walks into the room, and she's sitting in her bed, waiting, blah, blah, blah. And she heard them talking about something together in another room as she was doing that. You could almost pick it up on the video. And then they come in the bedroom and approached, she walked in, confronted her. She walked in and they confronted her. And she sat down in the bed and they confronted her. And then eventually, she's saying, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. She didn't want to do the fighting, blah, 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 blah. All right, Mama Bear, no problem. I'll be here. And yanked her out of the bed and started beating the hell out of her, basically. And you saw, I can't show you the completely clear version of the fight because YouTube is not into that. And I get it because it's bad, guys. They plotted the whole time about this, guys, from before they got there until they left there. It was all a whole plan they had together. And again, her best friend, I'm trying to think of his name. I had it before, but it skipped my mind for right now, but I'll get it back. Anyway, he's the one that kind of like spearheaded this whole thing. Literally. He was the leader of this whole plan, plot, and everything. And he was, in regards, her absolute 100% best friend. So, it is what it is. It's disgusting. It really is. Welcome, Joy. Thanks for joining us today. It's so great to have you here. Nice to see you as well. I don't watch Doug anymore because he's too many unnecessary march towards newscaster. That's your right, Miss Joy, and I understand. No worries. Again, you don't have to worry about that over here. Absolutely no worries. Molly says, so I have another issue. This doctor was in the room with these three for almost 3. Yeah, right. Here's my thing, Molly. Okay. With you saying that, let me repeat this, you guys. Molly says, so I have another issue. This doctor was in the room with these 3 for almost 3 full hours. Okay. We heard that 3 full hours doing what he was doing. Why did he work on her for so long instead of him getting her to the hospital? As a doctor, a physician, these people aren't doctors. They're not police officers. They're nobodies, right? Why didn't he just take it upon himself to do it as a doctor, to have her removed, contact the local police, call an ambulance, have her removed and taken to the hospital, knowing that she needed to go? That's what I don't understand, because being a doctor, he should be able to override anything they say. That's my opinion. Yeah, these definitely were not friends. Definitely not friends. Why didn't they buy round trip flights? It's been said they took her money to come. That's what I've been told too, Poopa, that they took her money to come home. I don't know how true that is. We don't really actually know, but the saddest part of this whole thing is that she didn't understand or didn't see. It seems like she wanted so bad to be their friend that she was willing to do this, for whatever reason, because people were jealous of her because she was very pretty, successful in many ways, and they weren't. That's disgusting, you guys. That's just absolutely, utterly disgusting to me. I'm sorry. That's Cece's correct. If they were jealous of her, why just not go with her? Why stay away from her? You don't have to unalive her because you're jealous. That's sick. Mexico makes you pay the ambulance before. Yeah, I've heard that too. Well, there was money there. If they wouldn't have pocketed it, they could have. It was also said that, and I don't know how true this is, that Mexican authorities took certain amounts of money too. Now that I don't know about that being true. But it was said in different frames. I've heard it. So that too, Joy. I get it. Yeah, that's a very good possibility there too, Ms. Boone. It was definitely premeditated. I'll give you that much. Sure. 100%. It was premeditated. They asked her mother to pay, right? They can get off in 3 years in Mexico. Well, if they survive Mexican prison, we'll put it that way, because Mexican prison is nothing like it is here. It's not regulated. They don't care what they do. If you screw up over there, you run your mouth to the wrong person, you're eating dirt, and you may not have no teeth left. So, whatever. Yeah, that's the big part right there, Jen. You're absolutely correct. The utter lack of remorse is completely and utterly disgusting, you guys. This is just normal. It's not It's not irregular, out of character. It's just what they do. Bullshit. Sorry, I'm calling bullshit. Anyway, let me finish this up, guys.
I didn't talk to the other ones again because I didn't see them anymore. They came to our home before the autopsy came. The traveling party was allowed to return to the U.S. after Shankwella's death. Last month, a video circulating online appeared to show Shankwella being beaten by one of the women in the group at the luxury rental property where they were staying. 5 days after Shankwella's funeral on the 19th of November, prosecutors said that her death resulted from a direct attack and not an accident. When contacted by our sources, the FBI said there is an ongoing investigation but did not confirm whether any arrests or extraditions have been made at this time. I'm just trying to wait for somebody to be arrested. The FBI is not telling anything, Salamander said. She added that she did not believe her daughter had any issues with the people she traveled with, but they may have fallen out when they arrived in Mexico. Shankwella's father, Bernard Robinson, told the Washington Post that he called the property's management to locate his daughter's body on the 30th of October. He said a worker at the rental was the first person to come forward with information about the real circumstances surrounding Shankwella's death. She is an angel. She's the one who first told us the truth, Mr. Robinson told the Post. She said, Mr. Robinson, your daughter didn't die of alcohol poisoning. She died of a broken neck. Robinson Sr. said her daughter was an entrepreneur and had 2 businesses, Exquisite Babies and Exquisite Boutique, where she braided children's hair and sold clothes. She was a good person, loved people, loved life, her father said. You know, she had harder goals. She didn't mess with nobody. It's indeed shocking that the people Shankwella thought were her friends only thought about what they would wear during her funeral instead of helping her family find justice. Shankwella and her friends arrived in San Jose del Cabo on October 28th. The following day, a doctor was called to attend to her at the vacation rental where she and her friends were staying, according to a police report obtained by our sources. The doctor was told Shankwella had drunk a lot of alcohol. At the time, she was allegedly dehydrated and unable to communicate, but her vital signs were stable. According to the police report, the doctor wanted to bring the North Carolina native to a hospital, but her friends insisted she remains there. An ambulance was called after she began to have a seizure. When no pulse was found, the doctor and a friend performed CPR but couldn't revive her. Shankwella's mother, Salamander Robinson, told a Charlotte news station that her daughter's friends called her the next day and lied. Days later, upon visiting her at her home, the same friends began talking about the clothes they would wear during her funeral. Following the shocking revelation made by Shankwella's mother concerning her friends, the internet went bonkers, with thousands of people sharing their opinions on the same. One user took to Twitter, posting, I feel we judge those who have no friends very harshly. Sometimes no friends is for your protection. Jealousy is very dangerous. I watched that video of #Shankweiler Robinson and it breaks my heart that she trusted those evil people as her friends. Another user also weighed in, saying, I couldn't imagine planning a trip with friends just to end up beaten while naked, recorded and murdered within 24 hours of arriving. A beautiful young lady lost her life too soon for nothing, and those people that were with her need to be arrested immediately. #Justice for Shankwella. The slain beautician was laid to rest on Saturday, November 19th, in her hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina. Her funeral came almost a month after she was found dead while on vacation in Los Cabos, Mexico. Hundreds of community members, family, and friends gathered as a horse-drawn carriage transported her casket to Macedonia Baptist Church. Several loved ones wore pink bracelets and outfits and pinned photos of the young woman to their attire in her memory. Conspicuously absent were 6 of her friends, who were among the first people to choose what to wear at her funeral. Those who knew Shankwella remembered her as a sweet, humble, and genuine person. She was just excited about going on her trip. She sat on my chair and we talked about a lot of personal stuff. We just clicked, and she was like my little sister, Lavera Smith, a neighbor who styled her hair for the trip, told her sources. Weeks later, on Saturday, December 10th.
Yeah, there was the same guy was walking around filming, okay? And as he was walking around filming, she was sleeping. I think this was the night before. And he said, quote unquote, dead girl sleeping, blah, 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 blah. And then laughed about it as if he knew something was coming. Okay. That's the way I took that. And then the next day, here we were. That kind of bugged me and it stood the hair up on the back of my neck. I'll be honest with you. And so, yeah, that was creepy. It was very creepy. It was a huge funeral. It was a very beautiful funeral. And they did well for that. None of these people should have been there. Not one of them should have been there. None of them.
And family and friends of Shankwella gathered at Little Rock Ames Zion Church in Charlotte, North Carolina, for a rally seeking justice. The purpose of the rally was to demand authorities arrest those involved in her death. In the end, the family of Shankwella wants justice to be served, and investigators will have to find that among her 6 friends who were involved in the foul play. And that's it from us today. Until next time, bye.
All right. All right, everybody. Now, there's that. It is horrible, Cece, I know. Like I said, the first time I heard about this case, it just absolutely disgusted me. And then as I dug deeper, my wife came home from work one day and she was talking about it. She was like, you're not going to believe. And I said, no, I started looking at it. She goes, well, look at this. And she showed me the rest of it. And it was just like, what is going on? It's disgusting, guys. It's 100% disgusting. I hope that every one of the 6 of these people I think they all should be arrested. They may not have all put their hands on her. The fact that they didn't stop it makes them just as guilty to me. That's just, there's nothing else I can say about that. The guy filming it, her best friend, he could have stepped in and he's telling her, fight back, fight back. She said no every time he said it. Then you stop it. Okay. There were 5 people or 4 other people that could have stopped this and just stood there and watched and rooted it on. Hold on a minute here. Okay, this is a whole different scenario here. This just was released an hour ago. Same media source again. You guys might hear a little bit of the same stuff you've heard, but there's a couple new things in here. I wanted you guys to check this real quick. Here's what happens, Ms. Boone. Mexico issued a arrest warrant for Dejanay Jackson, the girl that was assaulting her in the video. What they do is they send the warrant to the department, the State Department here for the United States. And then it's up to the Justice Department to arrest her, have her arrested, and then have her extradited to Mexico to be tried in their court, because that's where it happened, and convicted and or sentenced right then and there. I agree with you, Life, Love, and True Crime. They're not friends. So that's how that would work. Assassins, basically, yes. Sadly, but true. All right, here we go again.
Arrested and doing time in Mexico. Everybody extradited over there and doing their time there. That'll be justice for us as of now.
Can you say anything?
We can't say anything. Yeah, we can't say anything about it, but they're working on it.
For the longest time, virtually everyone has been more or less focused on how the Cabo 6 might have plotted Shankweiler Robinson's murder to the last detail. But a new update has just proven that there might actually be some element of truth to their story. That's right. That wobbly story Shankwella's friends told the world about how there was a mix-up in what the authorities said was the cause of her death and what was actually the cause of her death just might have been the plan of the hospital that was initially called when she went unconscious. Apparently, there's an even deeper conspiracy with that hospital, and let's just say I'm about to blow your mind with these new details. It's no secret that the whole world has basically been focused on the Cabo 6 for having something to do with the untimely and vaguely explained death of their friend Shankweiler Robinson. But new reports have just revealed that it might not have actually been entirely their fault. According to the new details that have just come out, the hospital that was supposed to have treated Robinson seems to have had plans of its own, which might have actually made things worse for her and even led to her ultimate demise. According to excerpts from a police report obtained by the Charlotte Observer, a doctor from a local hospital in Cabo, Mexico was with Robinson and other house members for almost 3 hours before she was pronounced dead on October 29th. The partial police report was provided to the Charlotte Observer by an investigative reporter for Metropoli MX, a news publication in Mexico. In the report, authorities say at 2:13 p.m. on October 29th, medical aid was summoned to the villa where Robinson and her vacation crew were staying, located in San Jose del Cabo. An hour later, Dr. Gutierrez from the American Medical Center, a local hospital in the area, arrived to assist Robinson. Gutierrez was then told by others at the house that Robinson had drunk a lot of alcohol. He then decided to give Robinson an IV. The report goes on to say that Gutierrez found a female, understood in the report to be Robinson, with stable vital signs but dehydrated, unable to communicate verbally, and appearing to be inebriated. Gutierrez then told the other housemates he believed Robinson needed to be transferred to a hospital, but her friends insisted that she be treated at the villa. Dr. Gutierrez then tried to give Robinson an IV but was unsuccessful. However, the new update in the case has revealed that there was actually a reason the Cabo Six had insisted on her getting the treatment there. According to details from her friends themselves, they had reportedly called the hospital even before Dr. Gutierrez came into the picture. However, they were met with the surprise of their lives as the hospital reportedly billed them $6,000 before any form of care could be given to Robinson, even though it was already pretty obvious that her condition was critical. This is what actually led them to contact the American Medical Center and by extension Dr. Gutierrez. According to the police report, an hour into Gutierrez's house visit, Robinson began to have a seizure. 911 was called shortly after by one of the housemates. By this point, Shankweiler Robinson was struggling to survive. She was suffering from difficulty breathing and a lowered pulse. At 4:49 p.m., Gutierrez detected Robinson had stopped having a pulse. They quickly began giving her CPR. The report says police arrived at 5:25 p.m. and paramedics administered a total of 14 rounds of CPR, 5 doses of adrenaline, and 6 discharges without success. Shankweiler Robinson was pronounced dead at 5:57 p.m., according to the report. However, the fact remains that the hospital, which is called St. Luke's Hospital, had its own goals in mind when the incident was first reported. And while this doesn't completely negate all the atrocities committed by the Cabo Six, this move that the hospital pulled is actually something that's been happening to U.S. citizens vacationing Mexico for a while now. According to the news, the hospital has made its mantra to always overcharge all American citizens if they have anything to do with healthcare. And now it's gotten out of hand. So out of hand that even the American government is aware of just how terrible this hospital has been to American citizens over the years. According to reports from Washington, the U.S. government is warning Americans to avoid a hospital at a Mexican beach destination, following years of complaints that the facility preyed on Americans by overcharging, bullying them, and refusing to release medical records. More than 100,000 U.S. tourists arrive in Los Cabos at the southern tip of the Baja California Peninsula each month, drawn by its beaches and dramatic desert landscape. It appears they are not only a boon to the hotels and restaurants of twin towns Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo, but also St. Luke's Hospital in Cabo San Lucas. Multiple complaints have been filed by U.S. citizens saying the hospital demanded tens of thousands of dollars in advance payments, threatened patients' relatives, and refused to release clinical reports on what care they had actually provided. That led the U.S. consulate in Tijuana to issue the unusual health alert about St. Luke's business practices. U.S. citizens have reported instances of withholding care for payment, failing to provide itemized lists of charges, ordering unnecessary procedures, withholding U.S. passports, obstructing medical evaluations.
Okay, I'm not downplaying by any means, downplaying what happened to her. Welcome back, Mama Bear. And yes, Miss Boone, it was probably due to the brain damage itself, was the seizure or the detachment, but they tried to charge $6,000 to even take her to the hospital. What the F? Oh my God, you guys, like what? Because they think that people from the United States have all this money and they look down on us. We know that, okay? Yeah, don't go to Mexico, guys. I don't care what it is. Don't go. This is sad. This is disgusting.
Evacuations and refusing to discharge patients without payment. The consulate said in the alert. The consulate urged U.S. citizens to go to other hospitals listed on the consulate's webpage. Considering that these details actually came from the federal government, it tells you that the account that was given by Shankwella's friends actually checks out. But the news about the hospital gets even worse. There is some evidence that St. Luke's pays or otherwise compensates ambulances and hotels to send American patients there. The consulate wrote, "Please be advised that hotels and resorts in the Los Cabos area may have existing contracts or informal relationships." That was an apparent reference to reports in local media that the hospital pays ambulance drivers to channel American patients to St. Luke's. Looks like there's almost no end to just how far the hospital is willing to go just to get a few bucks in their pocket. However, this does not in any way translate to Shankwella's friends not being involved. In fact, you could say they are just as sketchy as the hospital because there were quite a few holes in their story. You see, while Robinson's body had already been examined by professionals in the country, it's worth mentioning that none of Robinson's physical injuries were mentioned in the report. According to the autopsy report, Robinson's cause of death was severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which has left her family searching for answers. For the original story, Shankweiler Robinson died within the first 24 hours of a group trip to Cabo, Mexico, and now her family is trying to piece together why and how she died. The 25-year-old went on a trip to Mexico with her friends and never made it back alive. And while her death is indeed tragic, it was how she died that was generating an outsized amount of commentary on social media. Robinson went to Cabo with a group of 6 friends and was found dead in a hotel room less than 24 hours later. The friends called her mom and said she died from alcohol poisoning, but the autopsy report showed her neck had been broken and her spine was cracked. The video purportedly shows Robinson being brutally beaten by another woman in an apparent hotel room with a tropical view seen from a balcony. The woman in the video
Hi, Miss
identified
Jen.
as
Thanks for
Robinson
joining
is not
us.
shown defending herself in the one-sided fight. The brief clip shows Robinson being punched in the head and face multiple times and thrown on the floor before more blows are rained down on her. According to recent news reports, the Federal Bureau of Investigations has now gotten involved in the suspicious death of Shankweiler Robinson. The federal agency has allegedly intervened on behalf of Shankwella's parents, Salamandra and Bernard Robinson, who reported her death after Mexican authorities suggested there was no foul play. However, this new angle involving St. Luke's Hospital just might be the one piece they needed all along to close the case. In fact, a lot of people now also seem to think the medical professionals involved in the whole case should also face the law. Like this user who wrote, "The doctor who came to the villa to treat Shankweiler Robinson told her friends that she needed to go to the hospital, but her friends refused. The doctor needs his or her license revoked and to face criminal charges as well." No one is sure if the FBI will actually take an interest in this aspect of the whole story, but one certain thing is that all the medical professionals involved in the case are now on the public radar, and that just brings the truth one step closer to getting out. Now it's only a matter of time till we find out everything that happened exactly, but until then, we wait. That's it for this video. Goodbye.
Been arrested.
Well, and there it is, folks. That's crazy. I'm sorry. That's crazy. $6,000 to go to the hospital and $6,000 to be transported by ambulance to the hospital. That's 12 grand. Are you kidding me? Ugh. No way. No, there's videos out there that are trying to say that she was a drug dealer and that's what provoked this and blah, blah, blah. Unreal. Unreal. This is crazy, guys. I'm sorry. Completely crazy. I hope you have a great day, Jen. Thanks for joining us today. Let's see here. Unreal. Like I said, this makes me disgusted, 100%. 100%, guys. Drug dealer. Yeah, I don't. I don't care even if she was. So what? That doesn't give you the reason or the right or the ability to beat somebody to death. I'm sorry. I don't get it. 1 second, folks. Hello? Sorry. No, she didn't deserve that, regardless of what's going on. Yeah, and besides that, there's really nothing new yet. There still has not been extradition or arrests made. No, and that's absolutely correct. That's what makes me so mad. Okay? Everybody knows that healthcare is healthcare, period. Okay? But whether you're a U.S. citizen or not a U.S. citizen, if you walk into a hospital or you're in a situation like this and you need that treatment, you're going to get it. If you're billed, you can't afford it, whatever happens, you don't pay the bill, you're still going to get it. You're going to be charged an outlandish amount of money before they'll touch you. That's morally disgusting, you guys. That, like, how do you go to sleep at night knowing that I wonder how many lives that's costed. Honestly, it's just sick. It's sick. And the FBI is definitely head first in this, guys. That's a good thing. So we know that it's going to be handled the right way. Disgusting, guys. It's completely disgusting. So, like I said, Dejanay Jackson there's been a arrest warrant issued for Dejanay Jackson in Mexico for femicide, the femicide of Shankweiler Robinson. If she ever is extradited over there, she will face charges in court for that and hopefully get sentenced a correct sentence for it and have to pay the price for it. But something is off. No, never, ever. That's what's going on though right now, guys. That's the absolute newest stuff on that. Does anybody have any comments, questions, or anything in regards to it before we move into the next scenario? This one just bugs me. It really does bug me a lot, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, wait a minute here. What's this? Oh, no. Sorry. I guess there's another story of something similar that almost happened. I don't know. Anyway, corruption at its highest level. That's a good way to look at it. You know, you take full. What's up, Heather? Thanks for joining us, sis. No, that wasn't true. I guess that was brought up in the beginning, but I'm believing it was a woman. Completely a woman. No, I get it, Fupa. You feel bad for them. I mean, this is not, their daughter goes on vacation to enjoy and celebrate some of her success and never comes home. Come on. That's just not the way life should be. Oh, Lord. Yeah, she's definitely not, Heather. That was just a rumor somebody had started. You know how that happens. The rumor mill starts rolling and the wheel goes downhill, and whatever comes out of it is what it is. Very sad. And I think here's the thing. If somebody wanted to commit a crime like this, to do something like this, to have something like this happen, where would you do it at? You're not going to do it here in America because it's America. You can't get away with shit like that here, guys. So what's the best way to do this? Go on vacation to a foreign country that's very lax with their laws and do not like foreigners, especially from America. Do your thing and leave. And here we sit. That's probably how this was premeditated and how it was planned, you guys, was to go over there. He probably talked her into going over there and spoiling herself a little because she deserves it. They'll all go with her and they'll have a blast. And meanwhile, he's talking to everybody else saying, okay, she went for it. We're going to do this. We can all get her there. Because every single one of them was jealous of her success and her in general, including her best friend, that said in a video, I do everything for you, and this, and I'm surprised I'm not on payroll, and blah, 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 blah. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sure she paid this dude tons of money just to be her friend, sadly. You know? It sickens me. And these people are walking around the planet with us right now, not doing no time, not having one bit of remorse, just living their lives after they helped and planned and succeeded in taking this lovely woman's life, very young, lovely woman's life that she just now got started successfully and has nothing. And now her parents will have no more birthdays, holidays, grandchildren, nothing, because of their ignorance and stupidity. It's sick. Oh, yeah. I agree on that one too, Fupa. They probably feel that she's unimportant, you know, over there. It's a fact. I guarantee you it's a fact. I agree with you 100%, Fupa. It's sick. That, like I said, the warrant was issued. But why? Why are we? I mean, I know it takes time, guys. I get it. But it's been October 29th is when this happened. I mean, come on. Like we're going into 2.5 months here. Nothing. They don't care either. That's the sad part of it, Fupa. They don't care. So it's really, 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 really sad. All we can do is say a little prayer here and there that things, you know, for her family and her, of course, and pray that the right thing happens, that somebody's got some kind of morality in their mind, and something comes out of it. Okay. Yeah. Send Dog. He'll take her over there. I promise you that much. Yeah. Yeah. They had the holidays without her. Nothing. You're right, Smoothie. That's great. Great way to put it. Oh my God. Good Lord, what a sad, sad, sad situation. All right. Well, absolutely, Fupa. I understand completely. I have friends, okay, whose children are biracial, and we've talked. You know, they're scared to death for their kids because of the way things, even here, because of the way things go down. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let me see something here. Yeah, I think Dog would be all over this one. All right, guys, I'm going to give you, we're going to hit Daniel Robinson next. Okay. I'm going to throw like a bit of a news thing at you real quick. For those of you that aren't familiar, there were guys in a truck who chasing it. It happens, Fupa. It very well does happen, sadly, in this stupid country that we live in. And these stupid racist ass people that are so uneducated and just so dark and mean because they're stupid people and they live their lives as stupid people, and that's what happens to them. So I'm sorry that your son went through that. I know I didn't do it, but I'm apologizing for the stupid people of America that treat people this way, because somebody needs to say they're sorry for them. It's pure ignorance. It makes me sick to my stomach when I think about it. It really does. Good God. So disgusting. All right, I'm going to go back and give you guys this is kind of a retro tonight. A retro news Robinson. Some people in here are not familiar with Daniel Robinson. I know. I'm glad you are, Joy. That's good. Just to give you guys a re-up of it and what happened back then. I'm sure he is because he's raised by you, Fupa. Nothing wrong with that at all. And I'm proud. I'm glad for you. I am. I'm glad. I'm glad that there's parents that are raising their kids the way they should be. And just because his skin color is different than another person's doesn't mean that they have any less education or are not a good person. And that's why I don't like people like that at all. Yep. That's a fact, Miss Boone. So let's check this out for those of you that are not familiar with this one, just to give you guys a refresher real fast for those of you that do know, and then we'll move into anything new, guys. Oh, what did I just do? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Yeah, this one's really kind of scary too. Doesn't make sense to me. I feel so bad. He's such a good kid.
We start our series, Missing in America, every Wednesday night right here on News Nation Prime. We're going to be diving in to these cases, taking you to where the people were last seen, meeting these families and bringing you their stories. And again tonight with Daniel Robinson, a 24-year-old geologist living and working in Buckeye, Arizona. It is one of the westernmost suburbs of Phoenix. It's a low-lying desert valley, a resort spot that has quickly grown into a full-scale city. And it is where Daniel set off on a start for a job that he loved. He left work in Buckeye June 23rd. He has not been seen or heard from since. Puzzling clues, a crash scene that raises a lot of questions is what we know tonight. News Nation correspondent Nancy Liu is live in Buckeye for us, where she spent some time with Daniel's father. Nancy.
Marnie, it has been over 3 months since Daniel Robinson went missing. This is the area in Buckeye where his vehicle was found. This is remote. The terrain is extremely treacherous, and his family now wonders whether Daniel was really in that vehicle when it crashed here.
I have faith, and I really have him back alive.
David Robinson is on the biggest mission of his life. After serving 2 tours in the deserts of Afghanistan, the Army vet has no plans to leave the deserts of Arizona until he finds his
mission. I keep saying it, I'm a professional soldier. I do my job and find my son. He's my son, I'm his father, and it's my job.
The job has been filled with frustration. Daniel is a geologist who works for a company analyzing sediments in the area for a well. He was last seen leaving the worksite in Buckeye on the morning of June 23rd. A month later, a rancher found Robinson's Jeep crashed in a ravine. His keys, wallet, and phone were in the SUV, but there was no sign of him.
I think the first thing he would have done if he was in that vehicle is at least carry his phone with him. I couldn't imagine someone 24 years old won't be attached.
Daniel was in that vehicle.
The private investigator working with the Robinson family suspects foul play is involved. 2 questions raised by data recovered from the vehicle.
The vehicle had 11 additional miles on it from the time the airbags deployed. It had 46 additional ignition cycles on it after the airbags deployed.
Jeff McGrath also notes red paint transfer on the right side of the Jeep.
The vehicle was tipped over on the passenger side, so there's no red paint in this area. So how that got there, that's why I'm saying that vehicle did not crash here. That vehicle was, its last place of rest was here, but something was going on with that vehicle.
The Buckeye Police Department refused an interview request, but provided its report in which co-workers said Daniel.
Now, guys, are you taking off, Miss Boone? All right. Well, I hope you decide to come back maybe later if we're still here. If not, we will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us, Miss Boone. Very much appreciated. And thank you, Miss Heather. I very much appreciate that. Real quick, guys. I don't believe that he wrecked either, guys. I think he was run off the road and maybe robbed or whatever. And this is where they threw his Jeep afterwards. And that's my thought and my opinion on this case. I've always thought that. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just giving you my insight on this real quick. And again, Miss Boone, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Made odd comments about needing rest before he left the job site that morning. His father describes Daniel as always friendly and well-adjusted since his birth without a right hand.
He don't wear prosthetics, he was born without a hand, and he don't wear prosthetics. His mom tried to get him to wear it. No, mom, I want to, be who I am. And that's just Daniel. He was living his dream. He became interested in geology when his first year in college, his freshman year. He took a class, and that just set it off,
Just like the Gabby Petito case, internet sleuths are also at work on this one.
Just seeing the way the car was, the Jeep was, and the evidence, to me, it actually does support foul play.
Brian Watts hosts a mystery and adventure show on YouTube. A recent episode featured Daniel's disappearance.
After I then got lots of comments from people in and around that area that said, yeah, there's crime, carjackings that happen all the time, and it's bad. It's something that they're aware of.
The search for Daniel forges on, and this man on a mission will remain in Arizona until there are answers.
I don't know what to think anymore. Just gonna keep watching and keep on searching.
And Robinson has been searching on his own practically every day for over 3 months and organizing volunteer searches on the weekend. In fact, a major volunteer search is planned for this weekend with an army of over 1,000 people.
That's an old broadcast, guys. Sadly. His father's the one that they saw. His father's the one that's been searching for him pretty much by himself, because this is there's no help. It's very sad. This one has always bothered me. When I realized that there was the paint transfer, the red paint on his Jeep, to me, that told me that somebody ran him off the road. Okay. That's my thought, and carjacked him, and they probably unalived him, sadly. And there's another one, Maya Millette. Absolutely. What's up, Kitty? Good to see you. That's another strange one, Maya Millette. Lord, there's so many of them, you guys. There's so many of them. Yeah, it's been over a year now, well over a year now since he's been missing, Joey. You're absolutely correct. That's why I'm bringing these back up, guys, because a lot of these cases have gone cold, and they shouldn't have. Where this was such a remote area that there's not the possibility of a lot of witnesses, you guys, and they've just gone so quiet. That one, Fupa, is definitely another interesting, sad case. We can touch base on it too. I don't know if it'll be today for sure, but like I said, I'm trying to switch gears here a little bit and give us something new to look into, and maybe somewhere we can help in a different way, to keep things rolling for some of these cases, guys, and some new ones too. Like I said, there's a lot of amazingly smart people in here that you guys have some amazing theories, ideas, and thoughts. We do really good think tanks in here, guys. And I think it's better to we know what's going on in Idaho now. We know. Okay. And like I said, nothing else can come out of anything from that until we hit the trial. So, let's put our thoughts and our heads together and see what we can figure out on some of these other cases that haven't been touched in a while, and a couple new ones, There's a lot, Fupa. There's so much of it going on. It's so very sad too. There's so many people that we're missing right now. I mean, I could go on for days. I could start a live stream today, right now, and I could go for 2 weeks, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and never just barely touch this, guys. There's so much of it. Yeah, Molly's correct though. If his remains are out there in that area, it's very sad that they could never be found. Or if they are found, it'll be accidentally, or it's going to be obviously bones. But I really truly think, and I've thought for a long time, when I saw that the paint transfer happened with the red paint on the Jeep, that somebody ran him off the road and did what they did, you know, him being the nice guy that he is, and you know, he's a great kid, very personable, friendly, outgoing, you know, was probably scared to death. And these people, whoever did this, took advantage of that, more than likely, you know, his fear, and pushed him off the road, scared him, boxed him in, whatever, took advantage of him, his situation, unalived him, I'm sure, and then got rid of the Jeep to hide it. And they found it just like that, because there would be something of his around there. He wouldn't have left his wallet and his phone and things like that in that Jeep. So that's my thought on this one, guys. It really is. And there has not really been, sorry guys, anything that I have found. There's not a lot at all, sadly, other than his father is still looking for him. Okay. And sadly, his, you know, his family is still hopeful. They're very hopeful. I feel so bad for his father is my thing, because I can't imagine this. I can't. I really can't. Let me give you this here to catch you guys up also. This was another News Nation thing that they did, where they went through his phone and his texts and stuff like that, and kind of like went through that. I'll let you guys see that real quick, and then I'll show you any kind of updates that we have, which there's very, very, very little, guys. Very little.
We're also learning more tonight.
Yep. This is very sad. I feel so bad for his father. I put my father well over a year ago. I was sitting there watching an interview with his father, and I put myself in his father's shoes, and I said,
Tonight about another missing. And
I said, I can't do it. I couldn't do it, guys. This one reminds me a little bit of the Dylan Round scenario. You know, it really does. Right, Fupa. That's very well could be what it is, because he was mixed. Okay. And, you know, we don't know how some people accept or receive that. They could have seen him and said, you know what, we're going to get him, and this is that. You know, sadly, it does happen, guys. It does happen. Still, it makes me sick, but it does. And yes, Poopa, that very well could have happened to your son. I'm so glad that he's okay, you know. Way too much, CC. Way too much hate, way too much violence. This is why I try and do nothing but push positivity in this channel, guys, because, again, like I said in the beginning, if I can push positivity onto one person, that one person can push that positivity onto two people. Those two people can encounter 5 people. Those 5 people can encounter 10 people. And hopefully, you know, some of that helps in society right now. And it makes people be just a little more positive, even if for one day it matters. It does. There's so much. There's so much of it. I did a little bit, Vicky, follow the Anna Walsh case. Like I said, there's so many of them, guys. So many of them. We just, as a group here, my moderators and I got together and we pulled these ones here, threw them together, and said, we're going to touch on these here a little bit. And then we're going to move on to something else and some other stuff that's just more recent too. And I wanted to look, there's even a cold case, guys, that I had talked about yesterday that I noticed that was reopened. The Vatican had in Italy, a cold case of somebody that went missing. That was very kind of an interesting scenario that was reopened from decades ago. Okay. But I'm just saying I'm trying to touch on a little bit everything and open up some new doors for everybody. And put us out there a little bit to help in different ways, guys. Yeah, I'm kind of like in that same boat with you, Foos Movie. I mean, I think everybody really, truly, clearly thinks that Anna's husband is the one that was completely responsible for that. But that's just my opinion. And that's clearly 100%, you know, I just went blank again. I hate when that happens, but you know, just purely thought that, you know, everybody's saying, I'll think of the word here, guys, sorry. So yeah, I know, I get it, Fupa, I get it. It's scary. That's why I am so grateful to be married to the woman that I am, and to be in the relationship that I am, you know, to not have to be dating, to have such a wonderful person in my life that literally does care about me as I care about her, and we look out for each other and those things like that. I mean, it's just, it's important, guys. It really is. I've never spent $400 on cleaning supplies on the day my partner went missing and then never told the police. Yeah, well, it is what it is. You never know. So, all right, let me get this one rolling for you guys, and then we'll move into the next, the update. There's only a very minute, small updates, but it's nothing of any substance. Truthfully, it's sad. It's just, I wanted you guys to rehear this and make this fresh in your mind again. I am very, very, very lucky and very blessed, Fupa. You're absolutely correct. This woman is the most amazing creature on this planet. She really is, to me. And the love of my absolute love of my life. You know, there's nothing in my life that could ever change that. Sorry, there's not. So that's good. That's amazing, Fupa. That's awesome. It is, Shmooby. It's very sad and very mind-blowing. It's very, very sad. So, all right.
An America case that we brought you last week. 24-year-old geologist Daniel Robinson has been missing since June 23rd after leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona. His blue Jeep turned up a month later, but no sign of him. His dad and also a private investigator have been looking on their own in Arizona in the desert for months, and we are getting some insight into his mindset in the days before he went missing. There are some text messages revealed in a police report from Buckeye Police that show Daniel was texting with a young woman leading up to his disappearance, and she turned down his advances. Robinson worked a side job delivering for Instacart. He also delivered liquor to a woman named Caitlin at her home. She and her friend had invited him in, apparently, and they exchanged phone numbers. Well, within the week, Robinson reportedly showed up unannounced and sent these messages saying, quote, "I couldn't stop thinking about you." She wrote back saying it made her uncomfortable and that she didn't want to hang out with him. According to the text, Robinson showed up at her home again, eventually asking Caitlin, "Do you hate me? Honestly, you showing up at my house unannounced," she said, "made me extremely uncomfortable. I don't see us hanging out anytime soon." All of these messages were then turned over to police and part of their initial report. As of tonight, Daniel's disappearance remains a mystery, and police say there is no evidence that any violence occurred or any foul play has happened. But Daniel's family say it just isn't like him to disappear. We have asked you to send us cases like Daniel's and like Lauren's that you think we should be covering, shining a light on, and paying more attention to, and we have heard you. In the last 2 weeks, our team has received more than 575 tips in 2 weeks, and we are combing through each and every one of them, and we're reaching out to law enforcement in these cases, and we're figuring out ways that we can bring you these important stories and hopefully help solve them, bring some of these people home.
And that's it. You know, that could tell you that maybe that girl told somebody about that interaction, and, you know, because she took it wrong. You know, I don't think that he meant it in a weird way. You know, maybe he was just trying to be friends with her, and you know, and her saying that could have provoked somebody, a brother, a boyfriend, to go after him. Who knows, you know? Maybe not, Fupa. Now, the newest update on this, you guys, that I have been able to find, It's very sad because it's really only 6 months ago. Yeah, 6 months ago. Yeah, you got to kind of watch doing that kind of stuff, Poopa. Sadly, it's very scary. So here, let me give you guys this. This is through ABC. That I don't know, Molly. I never could find that, never could figure that out because there wasn't a whole lot of info given out that way. So we did look for that kind of stuff. I did. Right, Cheryl, right. You know, sometimes these kids are, awkward, because they're not used to that kind of thing. And, this guy he was a very smart kid, busy working, this and that. And he just wanted a couple friends to hang out with, maybe, It just, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that's a good question, Molly. Very good question. So this was 6 months ago, and that was a year after he disappeared, 6 months ago. Right. There you go, Molly. Go ahead. Like I said, I looked, probably about a year ago, and nothing. I couldn't find anything. So good deal, good deal. But this, like I said, this was put out from ABC 6 months ago, and it had been a year 6 months ago. So now we're 18 months into that, and there's nothing, guys. This is like the newest thing I could find. Update wise, sadly, there's no updates. It's really sad. I just feel so bad for his father, because his father is still, from what I understand, just still hardcore, nose to the grindstone, looking for his son. I can't remember right now, Molly. I cannot remember. Damn it. Sorry. I am so sorry. I have a lot going through my head at one time with all of this stuff, and then normal life and stuff. So I'll get that. I'll look for it, Molly. There's somebody else leaving, I should say. 1 second, everybody. Where are we at here? Another storm here tonight. Ordered my groceries this morning, already delivered. Be careful. Be safe, Miss Vicky. Please be safe. Let us know that you're safe too, if you have any way of doing that, please, because we will worry for sure. Yes, thank you, Miss Heather. Everybody, if you haven't, please, yes, I do believe so, Fupa. Check out our Miss Molly's channel. There's the link for it right there. She's so very talented, and she's so very passionate about this stuff, just as much as we all are. Show her some love. She deserves it. Go check out that channel if you haven't. Subscribe to her at least. Yes, Heather, I am definitely moving. I have a green screen and everything that will be, it was a Christmas gift, that I will be moving everything and setting it up. So yes, no worries about that. You won't have to see all the crazy crap going on behind me. I'm doing it. And like I said, the internet guys are bringing me new modems, and I'm hooking new things up and plugging in direct. So it should make things better. I'm crossing my fingers and praying, as I all want you to do as well. So let's see what this is. This is the newest update, sadly. That's my thought too. Like, you would think that he maybe might have, an outreach to get some new help wise, maybe a PI or something, another one, hopefully, but I don't know. Let's see what this has to say here. There you go. Good deal. Sorry, Molly. I'm sorry. I wish I had it right off the bat. I don't. Just too much in my head, like I said.
He was last seen in the desert of Buckeye, and since then, absolutely no answers as to what happened.
No worries.
To him.
Thank you,
ABC
Sunshine.
15
Thanks for
reporter
joining us.
Nicole
I
Grigg
appreciate
has
that.
been following each development through this past year and has the latest on his father's desperate ongoing search.
I'm still working on keeping Daniel's story out there.
Sitting down with Daniel Robinson's father 1 year since he went missing.
Those harder moments come at night when I actually have to think, and when the reality kind of sets in.
We first met David nearly 2 weeks after his son was reported missing. We met him near that field work site where he would test groundwater in the middle of the desert.
One thing that I'm lacking to go forward is the forensics. I'm still working on that.
Buckeye police handling the investigation, but the past year has been filled with questions by the family on if enough is being done.
I rarely hear from them, only if they need anything.
David's car would eventually be found weeks after he was last seen about 3 miles from that job site. Investigator finding his clothes, wallet, even water in the car, leading them to believe that Daniel was in an accident and possibly wandered into the desert. His father thinks otherwise.
I see something else. I didn't see an accident. I saw a staging or something of some sort.
There were assumptions that maybe David wanted to disappear, but his father still doubtful and believes a crime occurred. He has a tip line open, waiting for someone to speak up.
A tip line is not for you. It's not for everybody else. It's for that person or persons that know exactly what happened to my son.
In 40 weeks now, David still plans to stay in Arizona. Right now, his fight includes asking the FBI to help in the search.
I'm pushing hard. I'm pushing hard for the FBI.
In Phoenix, Nicole Grigg, ABC 15, Arizona.
That's it, guys. That's it. It's very sad. Oh, very sick. Very sad, very sad, very sad. So, again, guys, let's keep this fresh. Try to remember these. Daniel Robinson. Because we don't want these cases to go so cold that they're just completely gone and forgotten. I want to see something here. Okay, I'll give you this one too. This was via CNN. This was the family. At this point, it was like a year ago. They were demanding attention to this case because they felt like they weren't getting the attention it should have been. That's a fact, Miss Cheryl. That is a fact, hon. That is a fact. I agree with you on that one. Slowly but surely, in all ways, shapes, and forms, are they doing that?
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona. Nearly a month later, Daniel's Jeep was found in a ravine approximately 4 miles from where he was last seen, and police say that the vehicle appeared to have rolled and landed on its side. Daniel's clothes, his cell phone, wallet, his keys, they were all found at the scene, and police say that foul play is not suspected, but Daniel's family says otherwise. Joining us now is his family. We have Daniel's father, David Robinson, and Daniel's brother, Roger Holly Robinson. I want to thank you both for coming on this morning to talk about Daniel. And I do just want to start first, David, and then Roger, if you can tell me a little bit about your baby brother. But David, tell me about your son.
Thank you for bringing us on, Brianna. Daniel, he's a very outspoken guy from his childhood. Daniel, he's always challenged everything. He challenged his siblings. He want to outdo them academically. Everybody knows that.
Thanks
Daniel
for joining us, Sunshine. I appreciate you.
He never let that stop him. He done everything from learning how to play a French horn. He learned how to play the trombone. When he got into college, he sought out to be a geologist, and he pursued his dreams, and he accomplished those goals. Graduated with honors. He also is a friendly guy. He always have friends. The College of Charleston down there, I've seen so many of his friends that love him. Daniel's a guy that loves to travel. He spent times with his friend on traveling.
Yes,
He's loved nature. He liked to do hiking. Once he got out here to Phoenix, He liked to hike. He liked to travel, like I say, see nature. And he loved his career as a geologist. He liked to collect his rocks. He has a rock collection. But most of all about Daniel, he's the person that liked to bring people together. And even in this moment when he's not here with us, he's bringing everyone together right now. So
thank you,
that's the person that
I will tell you, I
glad
have
you're
been
here,
reading about
Sunshine.
your son, and I have been so impressed by him and what a special person he clearly is. Your baby brother, Roger.
Yes.
And I just wonder, you know, right now authorities are saying that there is no foul play suspected. That's not what your family thinks. Tell us about this.
Well, there's too many things that's going on with this case. From the beginning, as from a family standpoint, Daniel, he would never do anything, outside of telling his family.
Amen to that, Fupa.
The first indication I thought that was very strange with Daniel is, after 6 hours, not hearing from him at all, he either called his siblings, his mom, or myself. He let somebody know where he's gone. But once Daniel became missing, and we realized that, I think the quick action wasn't there quick enough, first of all. But then when, that caused me to have to do my own searching and things like that. But once his vehicle was found and the way it was found, it just didn't look right. It didn't sit right with me. That's why I ended up getting my own private investigator. And from that point,
welcome back, April.
Everything that was found from that point indicates that, we need to look a little farther than
not too much.
Saying he's just missing.
Roger, the Buckeye police say that the case remains open and active. They say currently we are consulting outside experts for enhanced analysis of the data from Daniel's vehicle. We are also asking anyone with information to please contact investigators. What do you think, Roger, about what police are doing and where this investigation into your brother's disappearance, where it stands?
From what I'm getting from this, I feel that, they're trying to do what's right at this point, but I feel that it's a little too late. Like my father said, had they been quick about it in the beginning, we wouldn't be here 3 months later, still searching for my brother,
right.
Still looking for answers. I think my sister that lives in Arizona and my father did a lot in the beginning, push and get things moving, pleading with the police, begging for them, hey, can you help us get a search? Can we do an air search? Can we get something? And I just think the lack of action initially is what's leading us here. And now they're having to backtrack and try to bring in outside sources to help search for my brother.
There were some clothes found in his car,
Roger,
Vicky.
I wonder what you think about, there is now attention. Look, there is some national attention on your brother. That so infrequently happens in the case of a young missing Black man or a young missing white woman. What do you think about that and what needs to happen?
I think that it's sad that we still have to, think in that way. I would say my parents never raised me and my siblings to believe that, the world's out to get us. However, there are some very obvious things that happen, historically, and there's things that still happen today that's not very great in this country. And
I agree.
It just saddens me that it takes this much, to get, people's story out, like my brother or like anyone else. We shouldn't have to depend on other stories or other cases to push our own story. And we just want answers just like anyone else. I think, my brother or everyone else's brother or father, siblings, whoever they may be, they deserve the same attention.
Okay, and Daniel is a very special person. We hope that some more eyeballs on this case might get some more answers for you as you continue your search for him. Roger and David, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Awesome. But again, guys, that's the only newest update.
More now on the tragedy involving.
It's just so, I don't know, guys. It just bugs me. It really does. It really, really does. Yeah, I agree. Every single day, there's multiple people, guys, that go missing every single day. It's a very sad situation. And And sadly, there's not really a lot that we can do, that anybody can do. I feel horrible for his father, Ricky. I do. Because he in his mind knows.
As the Gabby Petito homicide.
Sorry. He in his mind knows that something is wrong. Something happened. And it probably feels like, you know, he's not going to find what he is hoping to find, per se. And that would be to find, you know, of course, Daniel alive. But at this point, we know. We know what's going on. That's why, again, I'm bringing attention to back to these cases, you know. It's just, it's crazy. It's every day. Every day. Very sadly, every day. Excuse me. And like I said, I've looked for, yes, April. I've looked for different ideas on different things and so on and so forth. Nothing. Can't find nothing. I can't find nothing. It's very sad.
What's your first choice, Hayden?
So, yeah, it's been haunting, to say the least. But again, guys, if you happen to be bored looking around, you see something that catches your attention about Daniel Robinson, just keep his name in your mind, guys. And we can all say a prayer for the family if you choose. And, you know, trying to stay positive that they get closure soon. We have to keep these cases alive, you guys. You know, keep them warm at least, so they don't go completely cold, because it's very sad. So, April, there was. I'm just trying to remember I couldn't remember the name. Like I said, there's been so many. Yeah, their clothes were found folded as well. It's weird. Very weird. Yeah, that's it right there. That's a fact. Thank you, Poopa. That's why you fit in this community so well, hon. If everybody in the world just cared and loved and send positive energy, we'd all make a difference. That's a fact. Facts, guys, facts. And thank you for that, dear. So, again, because there's no more updates with that one, that's all we're going to touch on that one. We're going to move on to another one that has perplexed me from day one. Day one. This one makes zero sense to me. This one has made no sense to me, that every which way I look at it, there's something crazy about it. And I do too, Poopa, and thank you. I think we all do. That's why we're here. And that's why you guys are amazing and beautiful people. So yeah, this one, guys, I'm perplexed. And Molly said it way earlier, but like this one here, it's a brick wall. And it drives me nuts. Because this one there's definitely something off with this one. Any which way you look at this, it's wrong. This is completely wrong, and it's very sad as well. So, I'm gonna throw this up. It's an update, but it gives you the same beginnings of it, and then we're gonna look into it. And then I want to start digging on this one a little bit more too, because I think there's more to this that hasn't been unearthed per se, but it's very hard to dig because you run into a wall. Absolutely, April. And that's all we can do, hon. That's all we can do. And yes, I agree. And thank you, Poopa. And this is poor little Sean Daughtry. This one bugs me. I mean, I can't get past this one, guys. And I didn't get a chance to really get into this one back when this was fresh, okay? So when I started looking into it, it just like, wait, what? It doesn't make sense. That's what bothers me so bad about that, Vicky, is that his father feels probably 100% helpless. And he's not getting any help. Really, he's not, other than what little things that people like us are doing to try to help, you know? And that doesn't do anything to help him. It really doesn't. It's sad. So maybe one day, I'm hoping soon, something will come of it. So again, this little boy's name is Sean Daughtry, guys. This happened a ways back. And I want to reintroduce this one again because it's been eating at me for a long time. And you'll see why for those of you that aren't familiar with it here in a minute.
There's got to be more answers out there.
Sitting in a park not far from what used to be their Yorktown home, Ramona and Jared Rivas remember their 12-year-old son, Sean Doherty. Sean was in the 6th grade, loved his family, swimming, playing video games.
He loved to read, and he could read. He could read a lot better than I can. I found amazing. So he was just an amazing person, and he was great in school, and the teachers loved him.
On April 14th, Sean was found in his backyard, hanging from a swing set. According to the autopsy report, he was suspended from a shoelace-type string with a bag over his head and his arms secured by his sides with a belt. He was found wearing his stepfather's clothes, shoeless, with no glasses on. His stepfather and mother say how he was found is just three questions.
He was watching his 2-year-old brother. He loved him so much he would never leave him. He was reading his book. He was just checked out from library that day. He did his homework and submitted for the next day. He took out a snack that he never ate. He started to take out garbage that he never finished.
We counted about 17 things like that were odd for Sean. So all those things had to be done by Sean on that one day in a 50-minute time frame for him to kill himself.
Those questions haunting the Rivas family.
We lost our son, and we have these hundreds and hundreds of unanswered questions that, should have already been answered by now.
Wrote, quote, history of suicidal ideations. However, in the autopsy report, the medical examiner wrote, quote, no known history of depression or suicidality. Another section reads, no note was found, but does say police are investigating the possibility of bullying at school. The Rivas family says there was one instance in December of 2021. They say still, Sean was not struggling mentally. That same report came to this conclusion: the cause and manner of death, hanging by suicide.
We want to be the voice of Sean, right? That's more important than us being listened to, is Sean being listened to. Because if he was sitting here, he would tell you the same thing. I didn't do this. I loved life.
The Rivas family has created a social media campaign that's quickly growing in the community. These yard signs reading "What happened to Sean" are popping up all over the peninsula.
We believe someone saw something. There was a crew next door mowing grass in the backyard when this happened, during the same time it happened.
Sean's parents say all they want are answers and for another agency to re-examine the case.
We want to make sure that whoever did this to Sean is not going to do this to someone else.
In York County, Ellen Ice, News 3.
Within the hour, the York-Poquoson Sheriff's Office posted a video on its Facebook page addressing the family's concerns, and here's part of their response.
Our investigators are recognized in the Hampton Roads area as professional, caring, competent major crimes investigators. They have investigated and solved numerous cases that include homicides, suicides, rapes, and robberies. We conducted a thorough, professional, and exhaustive investigation. There is nothing whatsoever to indicate that there is a killer in our community. As I state,
you can watch the full video from the Sheriff's Office. It's in Ellen's story, and we also have a response from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, who's responsible for determining the cause and manner of Sean's death. And that's up right now on WTKR.com.
Now, that one blows me away, guys. He did not unalive himself. I'm sorry, but he didn't. Okay? Right, April. It was 100%. First of all, he couldn't have done the bag over the head, the belt, all of those things. He couldn't have done that, guys. We know that he couldn't have done that, okay? Something is way wrong with this, way off with this, okay? And there's just no way that this happened like this. So, and whoever did this to him is way off. Okay, way. Grizzly did a very good piece on this. Let me see here. I wanted to show that what she said, like what really happened to him. Okay, because that's what I want to know. What really happened to him? Here's the other thing. He was watching his little brother. Do you guys think that he would have left his little brother to go and do this like this? I mean, no. This is not how this happened. It's just not. It's not how this happened. I'm sorry. If one of you mods would do me a favor and put Grizzly's link in the chat, please. I want to show this to you. I think she did a good piece on this, and I think it kind of helps a little bit, in my opinion. I like the way she covered it. I was very impressed with her. And it needs put out. It does. This one is really off, Vicky. And it's been like itching at me. It's been driving me nuts because there's so much to this, you know. It's so weird. But yeah, if one of the mods wouldn't mind, thank you, Mama Bear. I appreciate that so much. If you guys haven't, I know a lot of you guys have, you know, I like Giselle. I like the way she handles things and covers things. I watch a lot of her stuff, but if you haven't checked her out, go check her out. Thank you, Heather, as well. There's the link, Grizzly True Crime. She does great stuff, guys. And she deserves 100% of the, 100% for what she did with this video here. This is a great video. And it does give some decent insight, you know, really it does. And I like this. I've looked through everything I had on this, and this is one of my favorites. So I wanted you guys to see this. So she is really good. Very thorough. Her husband helps her out here and there, but she's very good at what she does. So much respect to her. Check her out, guys. Please do.
Not to be too graphic or anything like that, but it's very upsetting. Okay, so just be aware. Okay, so a boy was found hanged.
Now again, there's gonna be a little bit, how can I put this, some graphic content in here. If that kind of stuff bothers you guys, I'm giving you a heads up here real quick before we go any deeper. That if it bothers you, you're more than welcome to back away for a little while. And come back. If not, you know, if you're okay with it, that's perfectly fine. Just giving you a heads up that it is going to be slightly graphic, guys. That's all. Besides that, again, no, he did not do this to himself. So I'm sorry he didn't. So
hanging from a swing set in his backyard. Sean's was ruled a unalive himself event. But recently, after being frustrated by what they say are unanswered questions, the family launched a social media campaign and wants the case reopened. According to Ramona and Jared Rivas, Sean's mother and stepfather, Sean was a bright, happy boy who the night before his death was laughing and joking with family. Exactly. Now pay attention to all the facts in this case because they get really interesting. Thank you, Simply Stranger, also for raising awareness on Twitter with us about this case. It's because of you guys, because of Rose at 901, Lulu for telling me about this case. And once I started deep diving, and I'm like, sorry, what? Yeah, no, we need to talk about this. Okay, so And law enforcement's quite snarky about it. I'm going to show you a video that they've also released, which was on August 23rd this year, as like a clapback to the family's social media efforts to try to get justice for their son. And I'm like, whoa, have you no empathy for a grieving family whatsoever? It's kind of weird to hear the police talk like that to this family. Anyway, we'll look at all of that. Of course, you are all entitled to your own opinion, make up your own mind. What I do ask though is let's keep the chat respectful. Family will be watching. And let's make sure we do our best to help them. Okay, so just think about if this was your son, right? Or little brother, cousin, whatever. It's just terrible. So Sean was a bright, happy boy who the night before his death was laughing and joking with family.
100%,
the family's
Pupa.
campaign prompted the York, that's a hard word, Pockeson Sheriff's Office to respond last week saying the death was fully investigated. We take these matters very seriously, evaluate all evidence, and consider all possibilities. We'll go timeline hanging there. So Major Ron Montgomery said in a videotape statement, we will look at that. Much of the information being posted to the social media side is opinion in your application, which is not consistent with the evidence collected by the Sheriff's Office investigators during the investigation. But they've also had conflicting stories, the Sheriff's Office themselves. We're going to talk about a handprint that initially they said, oh yeah, we did take the print from the window and scanned it for fingerprints, but couldn't find any matches in the system. And then later they said, oh yeah, the handprint wasn't clear to actually get prints from it. So you see what I mean? That's an example, right? All right, so that April, Sean's sister, Maria, found him hanging from the swing set. He was later pronounced dead at Riverside Regional Medical Center in Newport News. When the Sheriff's Office ruled the death an alive himself event, and I have to say it, if you guys are new to YouTube or new to the channel, that's how us YouTubers have to talk. Otherwise, YouTube suppresses the reach of the content, which we don't want in cases like this. Of course, now we want maximum awareness. So I got to use some code words here and there.
Exactly.
He loved Marvel. He loved Disney. He loved his family, but most importantly, he loved life. Jared Rivas said. One of Sean's favorite things to do was read. In fact, at a book fair a few years back, Sean spent $107 of his own money to buy new books. Sean was a 6th grader at Tab Middle School who dreamed of one day becoming president. He was one of 4 siblings, including an older sister and 2 younger brothers.
Does this kid even remotely look depressed to you guys? Does he even remotely look like somebody a child that would unalive himself? Look at him. Now, I know this is just a picture, okay? And not every moment in our lives is exactly the same. It's not exactly happy. But does this child look like he would do something like that to himself? No, he doesn't. He never did. He never did, guys. And he didn't do this to himself. I'm sorry. He did not do this to himself. I don't care who and what says what. No, he didn't, guys. Somebody did this to him. For whatever sick ass reason they did, it's never going to be a good enough reason. At 12 years old, it blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Brothers. According to his family, he was the kindest of them all, sometimes bringing extra food for a friend at school. By all accounts, from everything I've read about him, and I've listened to all the podcasts out there about this case, watched all the videos I could, read all the articles, he sounds like an empath, you know? Wow. The autopsy report from the state office of the chief medical examiner states that Sean was found partially suspended by a shoelace-type string that was tied to the swing set. While hanging, there was reportedly a nylon bag over his head and a belt strapped around his abdomen, pinning both of his arms to his side, the report says. We're going to get more into...
Now, this drives me nuts. This is what drove me nuts. Explain to me how they really think that this kid, 12 years old, put a bag over his head, a nylon bag, so therefore he couldn't see anything, and then put a belt around him, tying his arms to his sides, and then hung himself with no hands. How did he, with a shoestring, mind you? A shoestring. How is that even possible? Explain that. Somebody tell me how that's possible, please. I'm real curious as to who can tell me how he did that. Okay? So you can look at it any which way you want to, you guys. So okay, he did the bag first, and then he did the rope, and then he buckled. How did he buckle the belt with his hands to his sides, guys? You can't. And why is law enforcement accepting this? That's why this bothers me, and it doesn't make sense. This is so easily not what they're calling it. And it bothers me to death. There's no way possible. You guys heard that. There was a nylon bag over his head, a shoestring around his neck, and a belt tied tight around his waist with his hands to his sides. He couldn't have done that. First of all, he couldn't have done anything else with his hands to his sides, buckled tightly. And even if he did that last, how did he do that with the belt, with his hands to his sides? If it's tight enough that he couldn't move, come on, guys. This makes no sense to me. This is common sense. No. And law enforcement is accepting this. That makes no sense to me. I had to stop and say that because it drives me nuts. I'm sorry.
To it, because while law enforcement wants to say, oh no, this is nothing but an unalive oneself event. Thank you, Linda, for being here as I cover this case. Thank you so much. While law enforcement wants to say this is nothing more than unalive, I wish they would explain how they think then he was able to do this at 12 years old and why. Because to have a belt around your waist, pinning your arms to the side.
And one other quick thing, guys. One other quick little thing. How many 12-year-olds do you know, innocent looking and acting 12-year-olds, do you know that would know how to go through all of that to make this happen, first of all? That's word for word what I'm saying right now, Smooby. How would he even know to put that together like that, to accomplish all of that? What idea? Okay? Thank you, Smooby. That's word for word what I was saying. Exactly. And we're going to get into that part of that, Mama Bear, as we go on through this, because that's why I'm digging on this one, because this one is been driving me nuts. What's up, David? Good to see you, brother.
I wish you were here. I told you.
1 second, folks. Okay, so sorry about that. The witness is his 2-year-old stepbrother, right? I can't get past this, guys. I can't get past the whole. No, I can't. It blows my mind. It doesn't make sense, and I know he didn't do it. So why? Explain to me why. I think she says the same thing. Why is law enforcement so accepting of it with the common sense and the investigative skills and the forensic skills and all the things that they have? Why is that okay? Why? And I'll tell you why here in a little bit, why I think it's okay. Because there's something that there's power involved in this whole case, guys. Big time power. Okay? And power has a way of putting itself out in front of everything and doing what it wants to do because it's power. And that's a sad, sad thing. Because you notice, guys, what have you guys heard from his parents since this has been called an unaliving? Have you guys heard anything from or about his parents since then? If you have, I'd want you to show me, because I'm pretty sure not one word has been said since law enforcement called it what they did. That's it, David. Power is control. That's right, Mama Bear. Big, big, big power, okay? And a child should never be involved in a situation where power has to overtake a situation and do things like this. Not even then, Schmovie, because he's still a 12-year-old kid. Remember that one, okay? Not even then. This is so disgusting and so sad to me. It's always bothered me. These things are so sickening, guys. Moving along.
Okay, he needs glasses to see. His vision was not good. He needed glasses. Okay, so the glasses are not, he's not wearing his glasses. There's a motocross helmet bag over his head. Okay, and tied so that he's suspended. Sorry for the graphic details, trigger warning everyone, but suspended by his chin, basically. And his feet are practically touching the ground. They're perfectly clean, touching the ground. And the weirdest thing is he's wearing his stepfather's clothes. His underpants are found upstairs where he never ever changed in his parents' room. There his underpants are found. Now he's hanging on the swing wearing his stepfather's underpants, his stepfather's dress shirt and pants.
Now, that, okay? You guys know how I look at all the little things, and I've been telling you guys this forever. I look at small things in all these cases. I look at things that most people don't look at, right? They found him wearing his father's clothes, his father's dress shirts that he wears at work and things like that, right? Okay. I think that done by the person that did this, because he didn't do this to himself, is a visual clue that was purposely done to say something without saying something, if you know what I'm saying, guys. Okay? That was a warning. I'm telling you. They put him in his father's clothes to depict him as his stepfather. Do you see what I'm trying to say here? Like, okay, I think you guys are getting what I'm saying. That's why I know he didn't do this to himself, because that right there is a huge, huge, huge statement and tells the whole story.
It's like, what in the hell is this case? And law enforcement was like, nope, nope, nothing to see here. I mean, yes, arms strapped to his side. So you want to tell me?
And law enforcement is going to shut down when there's somebody that has more power than them. Right or wrong?
That a 12-year-old, how would it physically be possible to do this to oneself? To manage to tie a bag around your head, not wear your glasses, can't see anything, shoes are off, okay, so his feet are not dirty either. It's as if he was carried there because there's no wet grass on his feet. And his hands are tied to his side and he's hanging from a swing. Like, it's just like, what? I don't understand. It's very suspicious. Okay, so they say it's also noted that he was wearing, yes, his stepfather's clothes and was barefoot. His glasses were on the ground nearby and no note was found. But you know what? One of the lenses of his glasses was never found. It's as if somebody took a trophy, if you know what I mean. Never found one glasses lens. What is that? Never mind. I'm just filling in a few things that I've learned as well along the way, and we'll look at the Facebook page. Never mind that throughout the house, for instance, this. Ramona, his mother, only bought trash bags from Costco, and they had red handles. But here in the house was 2 trash bags with blue handles all of a sudden. No one knows where they came from. But this is just him, 12 years old, unaliving himself all of a sudden. He got a peach out of the kitchen cupboard, put it in a bowl as a snack, was going to take the trash out as part of his chores, submitted a photo to his school to show that he'd done his homework, was about to play Fortnite. And that's that. And we're going to get into, because you guys are going to say, where are the parents and all that? We're going to get into that whole timeline. They'd popped out for a bit. Okay, so they say in the parents' bedroom, Sean's underwear was on the floor and the dresser doors were open. Before his death, Sean was babysitting his 2-year-old brother at the house while Ramona Rivas took her mother to a doctor's appointment. So Sean's grandmother, right? Sean was excited to watch his little brother, Ramona said.
Thank you,
Jared
Heather.
Rivas, meanwhile, was in Williamsburg with their second youngest son. So Ramona's taking Sean's grandmother for an appointment. She said the appointment will be about 25 minutes. She won't be long. Can Sean just watch his...
And for those of you that didn't follow this case, we're going to touch base on who the mother and father worked for. where they worked at, and then it might clear something up for you guys here a little bit. Thank you again, Heather. Anybody again that can and wants to support me in the channel, please feel free to via Venmo, Cash App, or my PayPal, because it's really appreciated and can really be used at this point, guys, to keep the channel running and to keep things going clean. So I appreciate you guys greatly on that. But again, this blew my mind, you guys. Even I'm watching this again. I love this video she did because she's very clear on this about everything, which is why I'm showing it to you guys. It blatantly says it's sending a message, guys, for lack of better words. They sent a message, which is why they dressed him in his stepfather's clothes, like I said before. But to use a child to do it, come on. That's all I'm saying, guys. And again, thank you, Miss Heather. Yeah, Molly, this is beyond messed up. I'm sorry.
His little 2-year-old brother, and he said, cool, he's so excited, and he's going to do his chores and babysit his brother. And the stepdad was also out taking one of the siblings to an appointment as well. This is what I want to know as well, Seema. Why do officials insist? The reason is I think they don't want the community to freak out or think there's a killer on the loose. So they're like, no, there's no sign that there's a killer in this community. But, okay, it's like, it just sounds a little bit strange. Yeah, so the stepdad was also out, as we see here. Jared was in Williamsburg with his second youngest son for an appointment. During Sean's last moment, he completed his homework, started taking out the trash, made a snack, and even had a quick call with his mother about an hour before his body was discovered. In the medical examiner's report, it's noted that no known history of depression or unaliving was found. It does note that the police investigation raised the possibility of bullying at school. But his family said for one incident in December, they're unaware of any other bullying that said Sean didn't seem to be overly upset by it. His family questions how the examiner and police were drawn to the conclusion of him taking his own life, especially with Sean's behavior the night before. The night he passed, Ramona bought some cookies, and a couple of them were carrot cake. He was so excited about that cookie. He was like, Mom, this is great. Mwah, so good. Jared said, remembering Sean doing a comical chef's kiss in response to the cookie, in eliciting laughter from the rest of his family. Soon after, Sean had his normal catch-up session with his mom before bed. Every night, no matter what, he would come up and follow Ramona around. He would just follow her around and talk to her about whatever they talked about, Jared Rivas said. And that
now, we're about to get into here in a second where what I was hitting at, you guys, and you'll see why I said that. Okay, so just give it a second here. Just again, like I said, I for those of you that didn't follow this, it's going to make sense here in a moment.
That was the same thing Wednesday night before he passed. Every time the catch-up sessions got finished, he'd turn and look at us. He'd go, well, good night, guys. I love you, and bounce down the hall. The family was expecting to move soon. Ramona Rivas was a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force, and she recently had accepted a new position at the Pentagon. So literally today, she can't make the interview because she's at the Pentagon and they're not allowed any electronics in there.
The Pentagon. Think about it. She's a lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force, and she recently accepted a new position right before this happened with the Pentagon, the United States government.
Okay, so here they say, once she got the call, she told her family the news at dinner. Sean jumped up screaming with excitement and said he couldn't wait to tell his friends that his mother worked for the Pentagon. He wanted to know if he could go into the Pentagon and get some of the milk chocolate candies with the iconic building stamped on top. On the first day, when I went into the Pentagon, I went into the chocolate shop and bought one. It's next to Sean's picture, she said. In August, the Rivas family didn't want to stay silent anymore, they said, and the social media campaign ignited. Signs with @WhatHappenedToSean, use that hashtag if you post this on social media, started appearing across town, and a Facebook page titled What Happened to Sean formed, which we're going to look at. The family also started a petition, which is in the description box, change.org, called What Happened to Sean. Please sign it, Grizzlies. And remember, when you sign it, name, surname, email address, and then you have to check your email to click on the link to finalize your signature. Okay, So we don't want this to be a fight with the York Pocahontas sheriff. All we're asking for is another option, Jared Rivas said. I mean, you hear how we're describing him the night before he passed. We all got back from a cruise, and he got his passport done on Tuesday, April 12th, which he was thrilled about. He didn't know he was going to be alone until he got home from school. He couldn't have planned this. Beyond the statement released on Facebook, no more details about the case will be released to the public, said the Sheriff's Office spokeswoman, Shelley Ward. We just wanted to get out our information to put their minds at ease, Ward said. There's not someone in our community that's out killing people, and we're not investigating. We take all matters seriously. The medical examiner's office also made a statement saying that in cases where a family disagrees with the cause of death, they are given an opportunity to present any new information. In cases where the family suspects that someone killed their loved one, we ask families to contact the investigating law enforcement agency immediately to express their concerns. The statement continues, we advise that law enforcement should be involved as they need to conduct the necessary follow-up on the new information. If law enforcement determines the information to be pertinent to our death investigation, then they will present it to our office and the medical examiner will evaluate this new information to determine if cause of death and or manner of death needs to be amended. According to the Rivases, there were many things out of place the day of Sean's death. All they want is for someone to give the case another look. And that's what we're here for, Grizzly. To put the pressure on a little bit, right? Ozzy Mozzie says, can you post a link to this article in the chat? I'm going to pin it to the comments afterwards. I'll make sure to pin everything that we're going to go over today so that you can easily see it. It's the Daily Press, as you can see, what happened to Sean. The parents say, we're not investigators, we're just parents that lost an amazing kid, Jared Rivas said. No matter what, no one can argue that he doesn't deserve a second shot, right?
100%.
Rotan says, there's definitely someone in that community that did that. It's very odd. Now, wait till we go into the details. You guys are going to see. Thank you so much, the Aussie Mozzie. This link is quite long, but I'll post it here. There's the link to the article I've just read. I'm going to pin it in the comments as well. Okay? So we're going to use our voices all the way from the Netherlands and abroad, international audience. I find it really helps because I live in the Netherlands. I don't know. I find sometimes it's like, oh, damn, because it's an international audience that we have here as Grizzlies. And when cases reach an international audience, I don't know, sometimes it hopefully will inspire law enforcement to be like, oh, maybe we should look at sign it and then go to your email and click on the link to finalize so that your signature will be added to the tally here. Let's get it. Let's get it to 25,000, right? Who kept to themselves. All right. Sorry, here we go. I just want to take the banner off so we're not distracted. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay. Okay.
The mother did, Vicky.
Thank you also to Blue Muse. We got the best mods in the house, of course. Best mods. So use your best mods emoji if you agree with that. Okay, so here they say, this proud military family lived on Sandalwood Lane in Yorktown and were a tight-knit group who kept to themselves. They'd been there for a few years and were great neighbors, but hadn't made any forever friends on the block. The Rona had made socializing difficult, but the kids had friends and the family would occasionally wave and make small talk with neighbors. Sandalwood Lane is in the White Creek Farms, HOA, Homeowners Association, an organization known for its pristine lawns, low fences, and immaculate upkeep. This idyllic neighborhood gave the family a false sense of security, and they neglected to install a security system. Truth be told, they felt so safe, okay, in this house that even doors were seldom locked. They had just sold the house and were renting back for a few months from the new owners while prepping for a move to the Pentagon. They were all sad to end their time in the Tab district, but they were excited for their next chapter in DC. They were set to move in a few weeks. On this particular morning, the entire week, in fact, spirits were high in the house. The week before was spring break, and they'd gone on a Disney cruise. Everyone had the best time, and they were all high on their experience. They had such an awesome time that on Tuesday evening, the 12th of April, Ramona took Sean to renew his passport at the Pocahontas Library because they booked a second Disney trip for August to Alaska. Everyone, particularly Sean, was stoked for this trip. Sean was a straight-A student. Things came naturally to him, and he was also a gifted musician. He had several friends, and when interviewed after his death, they all recalled him to be happy. This day in particular, teachers and students interviewed remember Sean laughing in class, being excited, and could not recall anything out of the norm. Ramona spoke to them all personally, and each echoed the same sentiment, that Sean was not a troubled child and had exuded happiness that day.
His father was still...
Now, here is a video.
His father was a high-ranking officer in the Air Force as well. I don't remember where he worked at. I can dig it up. But it was some military installation. I'll put it that way, okay? So he did still work in the military. But she is the one that just recently received a job at the Pentagon, okay? We don't know what they did, but they were high-ranking military officials. So there's that.
That I'm going to play for you, which will show Ramona, his mom. Can you guys hear it?
They have told me a few times that they really don't know how to investigate this kind of murder case because it's really complicated. They don't have the experience. They have never
same rank as
something
her.
like this before. Then please do me the favor and turn it over to the state police or FBI who do it all the time. We just had amazing vacation. He just got back on a Sunday. It was the reward for the kids. He had got all A's. He was in a very good spirit. It was like a regular day, and my mom.
I'm just going to stop right here just to show you the community. I mean, it really is pristine lawns, beautiful houses. I see a swimming pool there.
Kind
It
of,
looks
David,
really
yeah.
nice, right? I'm hoping YouTube doesn't block this video because of the music in the background, but I'm glad to show it to you if you are here in the live stream right now. Okay, that's why it's important to make sure your notifications are on. So you're here with me live because sometimes I have to cut out certain segments when YouTube gives me problems. So look at the community. It looks amazing, right?
Comes out. She's like in a hurry. The doctor's office called and said, hey, she needs an EKG. But the appointment is only 25 minutes. It's a safe neighborhood. And he said, Mom, don't worry. I got it. You know, I love babysitting. He was reading his book later. I could see he had pulled it out. Oh, Shirley's not answering the door. Police and ambulances just went behind, fire truck. And I was like, my stomach dropped. The chair wasn't exactly next to him. Please don't ask many questions.
I'm going to pause here as well. So this is a picture of the swing set where he was found, where he was hung from, with a bag over his head and his arms strapped to his side with a belt. Oh, my word.
I told them Sean didn't do it. He was killed. That's the first time I told them all. I need to see where's my youngest one. He was like an exhausted doll. He opened his eyes. He was all sweaty. It looked like he had been crying. Personally, I think that he woke up from the hassle and bustle what was happening. I saw all kinds of stuff in the house that was out of place. I froze because I was like, that's a huge handprint on the door.
This is the handprint I was talking about earlier. Okay, sorry, I just pause every now and then for fair use in case there's any issues with this video, but it is on Facebook if you do want to see it on the group, which I've linked in the description box as well, what happened to Sean, and we'll continue looking at the post right after this video.
That's not Sean's. Hand was not from the outside, but from the inside. And it was the left hand. I saw some splatters that seemed like small blood things that I asked them to collect. Sean definitely had blood on when I did the picture on his hand, but the officer, she washed it off. The belt was tied around my son. Oh, they said, oh, he probably tied it himself and all that. So why there was no DNA on the belt? 4 weeks later, taking fingerprints, 4 weeks later, after we raised hell, 4 weeks later, going around the neighbors asking.
And that's the other problem. And the other thing. There was no DNA of his on the belt. So whoever put the belt on him had gloves on because they were professional. He'd never thought to do that. It's just one thing after another, everybody.
If they saw anything, I screamed in the hospital saying, my son was murdered. There's something really wrong. When I walked into our bedroom, I literally almost walked onto Sean's underwear.
Oh man, that must have been so shocking to walk into a bedroom and be like, holy moly, why is his underwear on the floor? Right?
They were there. Sean never, ever in his life has taken his underwear off in my bedroom. There's no reason for it. And it was across from my husband's clothes, and my husband's drawers were opened up because Sean was dressed in my husband's clothes. So was the ambush in his room then, you know? And then he dragged him, or they fought all the way to our bedroom. So he was interrupted. Did they wrestle to get up the stairs? Did they fight their way up? You know, I don't know. I think that someone saw something, and I think not just one. I think a couple people saw something, but I know there was no real investigation.
Which really sucks, and that's what we all want. A proper investigation with explanation on why on earth law enforcement thinks that this 12-year-old did this to himself.
If you ask the parents to find the person who did it, and we are not investigators, there's a problem. They're asking me to find the person. We don't want to investigate, just say it.
Because they don't want to be responsible for investigating it.
I have a text where it says, you know, it's time to move on and live my life. I know we have really good neighborhood, and I know people want to help. They just don't know that we are asking for help.
This is so sad.
Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to put this back here. If you have any information that would aid the investigation, please email whathappenedtoshawn@gmail.com or call the tip line at 804-905-8613. Thank you all for being here. We're going to continue to look at the posts on this Facebook.
All right.
Right? We're going to growl it right up. We're going to keep that squeaky wheel.
The York Precocian Sheriff's Office. Evidence was collected.
Here's your press conference
relating to cases of suicide.
This
right
press
We're
conference
growl it right up.
pisses me off so bad. I'll be honest with you.
Squeaking on, keep the pressure on, and just be like, what the hell is going on in this case?
It's unbelievable.
More eyeballs, the better. So make sure that you like this episode and share it so we can get this case into the media spotlight. Okay? Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so let's trust the family. So now let's look at this, what the police said.
Recent statements have caused concern in the community that the death of a 12-year-old on April the 14th, 2022 has not been fully investigated by the sheriff's office, and that there may be a killer in our area that poses a threat. Nothing could be further from the truth. It has been the long-standing policy of the York Precocian Sheriff's Office to not release information relating to cases of suicide, particularly those cases that involve children. We do everything within our power to preserve the privacy of the grieving family.
This wasn't an unaliving.
We take these matters very seriously, evaluate all evidence, and consider all possibilities. The York Precocian Sheriff's Office is aware of a recent social media site created to provide the public with theories surrounding the death of this 12-year-old. Much of the information being posted to this social media site is opinion, innuendo, and fabrication.
Okay, it's only the mother of the deceased 12-year-old that's trying to get justice for his son, or answers, or for you to actually investigate properly and close the investigation instead of leaving it up in the air, kind of open wondering what happened, but then you're saying, no, he just unalived himself. But to say that to a mother who's just trying to find answers, to be like, this is nothing but opinion, blah, blah, blah. Like, really? Oh my word, I feel so snarky when I see this.
Which is not consistent with the evidence that was collected by Sheriff's Office investigators during their investigation. Once that evidence was collected, it was submitted to the Department of Forensic Science for evaluation and later to the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. By law in Virginia, it is the Chief Medical Examiner's responsibility to determine the manner and cause of death, which they, the Chief Medical Examiner's Office, determined to be a suicide. In addition, the Sheriff's Office met with the family on multiple occasions and gave them the opportunity to discuss this investigation. Additionally, an offer was made to have a group meeting after.
And the family has said that's totally false. But
It
now
is.
they're going to say, well, we, extended the offer for them to meet with us, and they never did. You're law enforcement. Go there, knock on the door if you need to. Oh my word.
After the findings of the Chief Medical Examiner's Office, that would include the family, members of the York-Wacotian Sheriff's Office, and the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. As of this date, the family has not expressed interest in scheduling the meeting. Instead, they chose to post this video publicly. There were several key points that were made in this video that the Sheriff's Office will address. First, in the video, the mother said, "They have told me a few times that they really don't know how to investigate this kind of murder case because it's really complicated." The implication being we, the York-Wacotian Sheriff's Office. That statement is absolutely not true and was never made to this mother. Our investigators are recognized in the Hampton Roads area as professional, caring, competent major crimes investigators. They have investigated.
Do you find his tone compassionate and caring? He sounds defensive and angry and condescending to me, right? They're like, how dare they share that video out there? It's almost like, no, don't you dare make us look bad. But you're making yourself look bad. You know what I mean?
Hey, Cadence.
And solved numerous cases that include homicides, suicides, rapes, and robberies. They have several decades of investigative experience within the division.
1 second.
The investigation divisions consist of graduates.
Sorry, everybody.
To the Virginia Forensic Science Academy, which has certified them as crime scene experts. Along with processing the scene and interviewing witnesses and the family, investigators interviewed a significant number of people to include surrounding neighbors, lawn care personnel, school officials, friends of the 12-year-old, and other community members. The results of these initial interviews did not identify any potential suspects. Also, during the course of this investigation, the family provided information on individuals they believe may be involved in the case. Their suspicions were based on people that they merely believed to be in the area at the time of the incident. These individuals were all located, interviewed, and ruled out as persons of interest by Sheriff's Office investigators.
Right. So then they were there. They had a little bit of tea and cookies with them, interviewed them, and it's over, guys. I mean, I think we're gonna read some more of those posts, but from what I understood, they've now installed cameras, and they can, because they want to see if anyone like revisits the crime scene, right? And they can see an individual, which might just be someone who takes a nighttime stroll, but this individual comes past the house quite often at night. So that's interesting as well. Just you know.
Listen, I'm gonna say this out loud before it goes any further. Like, I don't think this was just a random person. So okay, Schmovie, have a great night, hon. Thanks for joining us today. Sorry it was so late. I had lots of things rolling. Hopefully tomorrow, guys. I'm trying to get these streams started earlier in the mornings so that we can get them done sooner, you know. And I'm going to be bringing this one to a close here soon after this, and we'll pick this up tomorrow and carry and keep going. But Yeah, I know, April. It's sad, but at any cost, we're going to be looking into this one a little bit deeper too, as far as we can go, because there is pretty much brick walls every which way you look. Spooby, you have a great night, hon. We love you and hope to see you tomorrow. And get some sleep, because I know it's late where you're at now. Have a good one, hon. I hope you're feeling good too.
Just to say to law enforcement, can you maybe just look into this? You know?
Oh, what I was going to say though, you guys, is this is not just a random person that's walking down the road that chose to do this, that even somebody that was maybe watching him. There's a lot more to this. There's a lot more. It runs a lot deeper. It's just, there's so much more to this, guys. I'm telling you, look at it. Look at it for what it is. Just look at it for what it is. This was a message given to the family, in my opinion. That's me. So, and this is, again, purely speculation, but you know, this boy deserves this whole what happened to Sean push. He deserves this. So does this family, guys.
There's some kind of makeshift memorial as well that someone else has set up, and they keep on revisiting that. Weird. But that's the thing. Doodle by Glory. Say the child's name. There's no condolences given from law enforcement here, what I could see. It just sounds angry.
None at all.
It doesn't sound like, I'm so sorry.
He's irritated.
This 12-year-old.
He's irritated.
I'm so sorry to the grieving
Shouldn't
family.
be.
We've done the best we could. We have
We're
fully
irritated
investigated
with
this,
them.
and that's why the investigation's closed. But yet it isn't closed. That's the thing. They kind of want to be really, I don't know what word to use for this, but really, I'm trying to pick my words carefully.
They want everybody to leave it alone. They want the family to say, okay, that's what happened. Boo-hoo, it's over. That's what they want. No. That's not how this goes. That's not how this should be going. Period, guys. That's what they want. That's why they're irritated. That's why this conference was had. And that's not a 12-year-old child deserves way more than that, guys. And we all know that.
Hold on. Let's just say defensive and we got this. But then why is the investigation still open? Why don't you then say, you know what? The reason we know that this is an unaliving himself event is because of this and this and this and this, and therefore the investigation is closed. But it isn't closed.
No.
It's still kind of open. That's the problem.
Just like Kylie's case,
It's up
guys.
in the air. So can you imagine just leaving a family in that position?
Nope.
And what is the family supposed to do then? Like, okay, wait, so the investigation is still pending, it's still open, but yet you've said from the medical examiner, which they won't show the family the full reports and things for that. No, this is unaliving himself. I mean, wow. Right?
The evidence collected and documentation shows many discrepancies in the version that was put forth on the family's page. The videos and photos you see on their social media site are not from the actual scene.
It's only from their home, but okay. I really had to ask what was Sean interfered with. Thank you for censoring that. I really appreciate it. He apparently was not. According to the medical examiner, they said there was no evidence of SA. But I don't know. You know, from what I understand, the family doesn't have the full report. So do they really know? Because that's what they thought. Like, oh my word, what if there was SA and the medical examiner said, no, none of that. Wow. Okay.
They have been fabricated. First, the video of the man walking in front of their house is from 1 month after the incident, not the day of the incident.
Obviously.
2, the blood spatter image.
Look at his, like, 2. Let me tell you something. Of course, the video is from a month later, and it's depicting someone who goes for night walks right past their property and kind of lingers around. So they're just like, whoa, this is a little bit strange. That's why they have the cameras now. So they can see, does anyone revisit the scene? Do they come and check on things or not? And they've seen this person and like, this is a little bit strange. Maybe we should tell law enforcement. They're like, well, who would expect to tell law enforcement and have such a response? I'm like, well, that was from a month later. That's the point. That's exactly the point. It's a month later and beyond. That's why they submitted it.
Depicted in the video was not from the scene. However, we went back to the home on May 20th, 2022 at the request of the family. During that visit, The mother pointed out a red stain on the wall in the upstairs area of the home. Investigators photographed that stain on that date. Later, investigators reviewed the photographs that were taken on April the 14th, 2022, the day of the tragedy, and that stain was not present on that wall.
Okay, and just know, with his snarky clapback here, that's the only way the family found out if the picture actually had the stain on that day or not.
Exactly.
Because guess what? Law enforcement took a bunch of pictures of the entire scene and everything they found, but never showed the family.
Exactly.
So when the family says, well, there's a red stain on the wall
They
here, what do you
didn't
think
know
it means?
about
And they're
it.
like, well, hello, it means nothing because the stain wasn't there. Well, great. That's the first time the family heard about it. Because that's one of the pictures they're now showing. Are like, you see, duh, there was no stain here. Well, you could have just given them all the pictures and then they would know that. You know what I mean?
On April the 14th, 2022.
Yes.
In the mother's video, she states that her 2-year-old child witnessed the events that occurred in the house. During a recorded interview on April the 14th, 2022, between the mother and sheriff's office investigators, she stated when she left the house that afternoon to take her mother to an appointment, the child was asleep. When she returned home after the tragedy had been discovered, she is quoted as saying to the sheriff's office investigator, quote, "Thank God he was still asleep," meaning the 2-year-old. The information that she
Oh, my word. I think she knows her own child. And there were calls in between, as we read, where the stepdad said, no, he's already had a nap. We want him to sleep tonight. Wake him up. Make sure. That's why the whole babysitting thing happened.
Exactly.
I mean, sure, if you can call them, great. You know? We need to make sure that they that they know. The pressure's on to just please give this family answers. If you truly believe that he unalived himself, explain then how you came to that conclusion.
Explain
Show
how he did
the autopsy reports. How do you know that? Right?
Explain how he did it.
stated in a video about the 2-year-old has never been disclosed to the sheriff's office. In the mother's video, she states there was mud in the backyard, even refers to it as swampy. And she noted that there was no dirt on the 12-year-old's feet. Images from the day of the incident on April the 14th show that the grass was not wet and the yard was not swampy.
But his feet were perfectly clean, not a blade of grass on his feet, as if he'd not even walked on the ground, which is what she meant. He's like, look at this. This looks perfect. It's fine. Okay, but the family was saying it's as if he was carried there.
And that's my thought that I've been thinking from day one with this, that he was carried out. What's up, Dick? William, good to see you, brother. That whatever happened inside the house, okay, there was blood, obviously, okay? Whatever happened in the house happened. And then he was dressed. He's not a big kid. Any man could have carried him. And he was carried out and put in this situation and staged, guys. That's my thought on this, 100%. What's up, Popper? Good to see you, bro. And William, good to see you as well. It's been a minute. I'm glad you're here. So that's my thought as to why this was the way it was. And, you know, it's kind of back in the back here. It's kind of secluded per se, but there's still a neighbor there. If maybe they weren't home, whatever. I don't know, guys, but that's my thought as to what happened. Why that situation happened the way it came off, I guess you could say.
Because there was no mud, no dirt, no anything on his feet. Right?
There have been many statements on this website regarding the alleged staging of the scene. The photo of the backyard displayed on the social media site shows a swing set and a chair. It's important to note that the swings that are wrapped over the top post of the swing set and the chair were moved by York County Fire and Life Safety personnel in order to create enough space to render life-saving measures. The chair was moved from its original location under the swing by Fire and Life Safety personnel, where the 12-year-old was hanging, to the front of the swing set, and the swings were moved to provide workspace. Our investigation determined that the chair was originally located on the deck at the rear of the home and was moved to the swing set area.
Now, back up. I want to show you guys something. Okay. Let me show. Okay, look at this. Now, I want you guys to visualize something, not him per se, okay, but visualize something else, please. This is a 4x4 that has edges, fairly sharp edges all the way around it, okay? And he was, the shoestring, it was a shoestring. A shoestring, not a rope. Let me show you something real quick, guys. Let me show you something. This is what's bothered me about, one of the big things that's bothered me about this, okay? But I got to show you something real quick. That's where I'm going with this, CC. Okay. A shoestring. They're not all, some of them are flat, but this is a rounded one, okay? This is one of my tennis shoes, sorry. But this is a shoestring, okay? Excuse me. Now, this is a 4x4 support right here that has 4 semi-sharp edge sides or edges per se that make this a 4x4, okay? A shoestring. This kid's 12. He's small. I'll give it to you, but he's 12, okay? Weight-wise, I have a problem with this as well. Not that this is the biggest part of it. It's just one other little thing that gives me an issue. So what does a typical normal size skinny 12-year-old kid typically weigh? 75, maybe 100 pounds. If, you know, even thinner probably, okay. But still, it's enough weight. If you take, say you take 100-pound, let me think of something that might weigh 100 pounds, like a wheelbarrow. Roughly weighs probably about 100 pounds, if even that, guys, maybe less. And you tie a wheelbarrow to it, a shoestring, and dangle it from this 4x4. Do you think that shoestring is going to withhold the weight? Or is it going to snap? Or maybe the edge is going to catch on that wood? The edge is going to cut through that shoestring, depending on how thick or thin it is. The flat ones are really thin sometimes. But the weight of that, we'll just say, I don't know. I think they gave his weight. I'll have to go back and look. But still, even if it was 75 pounds or 65 pounds, that's still a lot of weight to be pulling on one shoestring. Okay? That's all I'm saying. That's one little thing to think about, in my opinion. I could be wrong. It could very well be possible, but I still feel like it's not. You see the fence back there, William, right here? It's just one of those little 4-foot fences. It's not really a real privacy fence. It's great to see you, William. Great to see you. And Vicky, that's the fence back there is what I was saying. Sorry. But anyway, that's still a problem for me, the whole shoestring thing, okay? Now, not to mention, you guys, there was a vinyl bag over his head. Oh, it's okay, Vicky. Yeah, right here where my arrow is over here, it's just a little, like a 4-foot type, not really a privacy fence, but like a half of what a privacy fence would be. But you can see over it very easily. But yeah, so there's a bag over this child's head and a dress belt, per se, around his waist with his arms tied to his sides. So how did he climb up on the chair and do all that with no hands? And how did the shoestring withhold the weight without snapping? Just saying. Sorry to interrupt once again. Moving on. Food for thought, guys. Food for thought. Just think about those things. Envision the density of a shoestring, the weight of a shoestring, the weight of a human being, even a 12-year-old child. Yes, Kim, we are. Welcome back, by the way. I'm so great to have you back. And William, I do feel like there was somebody else involved, but I'm not really going to talk too much about that today. Like I said, we're going to try to keep to these cases because that's what we do here, bub. But no, I think there was somebody else involved, William, in my opinion. That's a good question, though. So anyway, back to this, guys. Again, those are things to think about as we move on.
Feet, as if he'd not even walked on the ground, which is what she meant.
Back to this.
I don't know who killed him, but the child did not offer himself. And the red stiletto says killer could have been wearing gloves. Duh. I don't know. It sounds so scary. Wow.
It's good to have you here, though, William. Thank you for joining us.
In the video, there's an allegation that members of the YPSO, the York Pocosin Sheriff's Office, washed blood from the 12-year-old. At no point did any member of the Sheriff's Office clean or remove any blood from the scene or the child. At the hospital, investigators placed bags over the 12-year-old's hands prior to him being transported to the medical examiner's office. This is common practice to prevent the loss of any potential trace evidence. Based on the fact that the family was telling us that neighbors had information that they were providing to the family about possible suspects, our investigators went back to interview those neighbors, and none provided any additional information or new investigative leads. There is a statement in the mother's video about the unusual location of the 12-year-old's underwear. The clothing that the 12-year-old was wearing when he was located that day belonged to his stepfather, to include the stepfather's shirt, pants, belt, and stepfather's underwear. The 12-year-old's underwear were found in the same room where his stepfather's clothes were kept.
Okay, so where was the 12-year-old's? This is the thing. The 12-year-old's original clothing was never found in the house. Never mind that the two other trash bags found in the house had blue handles and not red handles like every other trash bag in the house that the mother bought from Costco's.
Which means that the two trash bags were brought in by somebody else. Okay, because they've never bought trash bags with blue handles, but all of a sudden there's two brand new trash bags there with blue handles on them. Common sense.
So we have two foreign trash bags out from external sources that they have no idea where this came from. Trash bags with blue handles, and the 12-year-old, Sean, he always says the 12-year-old. It's also so impersonal. Sean Doherty. Thank you, officer. Say his name. Oh my word. He was found on this, hanging from the swing set, okay, deceased, wearing his stepfather's underpants, pants, shirt, but his own pants and shirt have not been found.
They're gone. Where'd they go? Where would they go? But they left the underwear there. No worries, Vicky. No worries at all.
But yet his underpants is sitting on the floor in his parents' room. And not only was his own shirt and pants not found, but one of the lenses on his glasses was also never found. That's weird. Obviously.
Very, very weird.
I don't even know what to say to that.
In the video, the mother states that someone from the York Pocosin Sheriff's Office sent her a text that stated, quote, "Time to move on." To our knowledge, that statement was never made. We have done some research and have not been able to locate a text message telling the family to move on. The only text similar to this was a text between the investigator and the mother, where the mother states to the investigator, quote, "It is time to heal." Several theories were presented to the Sheriff's Office investigators by the family. The first theory provided to the family about what happened that day stated that they believed that this was a burglary, and during the burglary, their 12-year-old was sexually assaulted and murdered. However, Sheriff's Office
Okay, so now he's going to clear that up that he wasn't S8. I really hope he wasn't. Taylor said the broken glasses show signs of a struggle, in my opinion. Exactly, and he wasn't wearing his glasses. He just had this bag over his head, but he wasn't wearing his glasses, and he always wore his glasses like he would need to see. So you're going to tell me that a barefoot 12-year-old wearing his stepdad's underpants, pants, and shirt, and his clothing is gone, drops and breaks his own glasses, but one of the lenses just disappears. His own clothes disappear. Trash bags are in the house. That just makes no sense at all. Okay. And he did it to himself, and he's just going to, waddle over as he's sorry for being like, I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to make us all understand how ridiculous this sounds. That, okay, so he put the bag over his head and then tied the string. Sure, okay. And then in his stepdad's clothes, and he tied a belt around his own waist and arms, strapped to the side.
No.
And before that, had moved the
No.
chair, broken his glasses, and then what? And his feet could touch the ground. That's so crazy.
Investigators found no evidence.
Mind that. Understand that. I don't know if you guys heard that earlier. He could touch the ground. Therefore, the string would not have tensed up on his neck like that, because his feet would have touched the ground when he was dropped off or when he dropped down. Do you see what I'm saying? So this, whatever happened to him happened inside, and then he was brought out, carried out with not 1 ounce of dirt on his bare feet where there was mud. Makes no sense again. And this whole scene was staged, you guys, period. There's no other way to look at it. Okay. I think that the whole, the belt was done inside. He was dressed and they put the whole belt around him, and then the bag, and then they walked him out the door, tied the shoestring, and walked away and left him. Disgusting, but I believe that's what happened, guys. I'm sorry, but I do.
Of an intruder, and laboratory and medical evaluations of forensic evidence sent to the laboratory found no signs of sexual assault. The second theory presented by the family was that this was carried out as a military type operation directed at them, the family, due to their rank in the United States Air Force. And finally, they identified 3 different people based solely on speculation that they frequented the neighborhood. All 3 of these people were located, and Sheriff's Office investigators eliminated them as persons of interest in this incident. We did not address every inconsistency or fabrication from the social media site.
I can't stand
We
this
conducted
guy.
a thorough, professional, and exhaustive investigation. There is nothing whatsoever.
Then why is it still an open investigation?
Why
Then
is
close it.
Thank you. Why is it
And
not
give all
closed?
the answers.
Why isn't it closed?
Give the documents. Close it so that the family can then do their own investigations.
Probably
You know what I mean?
not, Vicky. Probably
It's still open.
Whatsoever to indicate that they're.
Honestly, Vicky, it wouldn't matter, because whoever did this had on gloves. They were professional. They knew what they were doing. And it doesn't matter who sees what or who thinks what. It's done. Prove it. That's the problem. Because we have to go against people like this that think they know. They're important. They're in charge. They know what they're talking about. They're right. We're wrong. You know what? I'm not even going to say what I'm thinking about that right now, other than the fact that you, sir, disgust me, and your entire department disgust me. Because any normal person, that even without law enforcement experience, can look at this and tell that this is bullshit. Excuse my language, guys, but they can look at this and tell that it's bullshit. Excuse me. Again, period. It's my 16-year-old son could look at this and go, what? No, this is not what happened. I'm just telling you guys, this is facts.
There's a killer in our community. As I stated at the beginning of this video, it is our policy not to discuss these issues in public, particularly when they involve children. However, the social media site has caused great concern within our community. We still extend an invitation to the family to meet.
Oh my word. You know what's caused a concern in the community? Not that there could be a killer on the loose, because that just sounds ridiculous to this guy who's like, they've interviewed neighbors. There's no person of interest. There's no suspects. It's got nothing to do with their high-ranking jobs in the Air Force and working at the Pentagon. Psh, that sounds ridiculous to this guy, right? Okay, but you know what's causing the community concern? The family social media posts. What? Really? That's what's causing you concern? Why? Why would that cause law enforcement?
Because they're lying. That's why. We know why it's causing them concern.
For their social media.
Meet with members of this agency.
She's 100% right, guys. The family had been posting things on their social media accounts because they want real, true answers, guys. Okay? This whatever he is, security guard with a glorified badge, because I won't call him a law enforcement officer, knows that he's telling that what he's saying is wrong. He knows what he's saying is wrong. This makes me so mad. You have no idea. No idea. He knows he's not telling the truth, guys. And he's blaming the family's social media posts for making them upset because it goes against what they're saying. Start telling the truth, dude, and maybe it won't be a problem.
And the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner to discuss the results of the autopsy and our investigation.
You won't give up those documents, though, will you?
Of course not.
Very infuriating. My word. Okay, so let's go back to this. When we look at we looked at the peach. Okay, now we're going to continue looking at the posts. So, post 4, where's Sean? Maria, Sean's older sister, had been at her tennis match after school. She was rushing home because her boyfriend AJ and his mother were picking up to go to his lacrosse game. When she got home, the front door was locked. She rang the doorbell and knocked, and no one answered. Where's Sean? He was supposed to be home. She called her mother, Ramona, who told her to call Sean and advised that he was probably gaming upstairs. Maria was frustrated. She was in a rush. She called Sean twice and texted 3 times at 4:50 p.m., but there was no response. She decided to run around the back and try to enter through the back door, and that's when she saw him. She froze at that moment, entering a state of shock as she tried to process what she was seeing. The person was hanging from their swing set, unnaturally with a bag over their head. She looked around trying to figure out if she could get into the house before the stranger got to her. But she realized the figure was not moving, nor was it facing her. Utterly confused, she scanned the yard to make sure she wasn't alone and locked eyes with the landscaper mowing the neighbor's yard. He was also very puzzled and just standing there. Suddenly, confident since she wasn't alone, she came within a 15-foot radius and called out, "Hello?" But there was no response. Thoughts chaotically ran through her mind as she tried to process what she was seeing. The hands and legs looked so familiar. It was Sean. Hysterically, she ran up to her brother and confirmed it was him by looking closely at his hands, which were both bound to his waist by a belt and discolored from lack of circulation. That's how tight the belt was, guys.
So
the belt was so tight.
It was so tight that his hands had changed color. They were blue because the blood wasn't reaching him. So his hands were so tightly attached to the side of his body that there's no way he moved them in or out to do any of the other things that he had to do. Again, one more fact.
Tight around his waist and arms, that his hands were discolored from lack of circulation. Screaming, she lifted her brother with one arm in hopes of releasing the pressure from his head and called 911 at 4:54 p.m. with her other hand. She removed him from his hanging position by simply lifting the shoelace-type string over his head with 3 fingers. She brought him down to the...
Okay, one other thing. That right there, again, says a whole world of things. 3 fingers. This girl took the shoelace up over his head, which means it did not have a slip knot on it. Okay? It did not tighten up as he went down. Okay? Therefore, it did not end his life, guys. Okay? Because his feet were touching the ground. He was just sat there and leaning on the rope. Come on. Come on. This doesn't make any sense. It makes zero. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. Okay. One more little fact, guys. There was no slip knot on the shoestring. Again, let alone the weight of the body not breaking that. But that, which means if there was no slip knot, it wasn't tight enough that it could have done that, or she couldn't have done that, lifted it off of his head with 3 fingers, guys. No. What's up, Heather?
The ground and performed CPR for 6 minutes with the assistance of the 911 dispatcher until the EMTs took over. Sean was dressed in men's clothing, his arms so tightly bound to his waist that the EMTs made note of how difficult it had been to remove it. They had to unbuckle and move it so that they could administer shocks with the AED. He had a bag over his head, and his glasses were broken and found in the vicinity. His eyesight was so poor he couldn't see without his glasses. How could this clumsy 12-year-old suspend himself in such an awkward position? So remember, the family's running this, right? We're not calling him clumsy. The family says, how could this clumsy 12-year-old suspend himself in such an awkward position with a bag on his head while his hands were belted so tightly around his waist without being able to see? He was suspended by his chin and not his neck. At any point, he could have stood up and saved himself, but he did not. His feet were dry.
Okay. Now, I hate to say this, but I've seen hanging scenarios, okay? And it has to be, just so you guys know, here, okay? Or below, right in here. This is not gonna do anything to you except hurt your neck after a while. So explain to me. No, this makes me so mad. No, God, this makes me so mad. I agree with you, Vicky. I agree.
Dragging on the ground, and his bent knees were mere inches from the ground as well. In fact, normal hanging injuries weren't present. It looked like he had been killed elsewhere and propped ornamentally outside, displayed in men's clothing, and suspended like a doll. His knees were so close to the ground that you could see the bottom of his feet, and they were clean. How could he have perfectly clean feet if he had walked barefoot from the house to the swing set through this swampy spring yard? It was April, and the whole yard was mud and dust. Ramona arrived home from the appointment to find her house swarming with emergency medical personnel, and she jumped out of her SUV and ran toward the commotion. She saw them working on Sean, and in that instant, the life she had lived ceased to exist. As Sean's body jumped through the air with each shock from the AED, she knew they were too late. Through heroic efforts from Maria, they were able to get a heartbeat, but there wasn't enough electricity to sustain it. They would find out later that Sean had actually been gone for some time, and there was no chance he could have been revived. A belt that completely immobilized his arms and hands, a bag over his head, broken glasses suspended by the chin, clean feet, dragging with knees almost touching the ground, a string so thin and loose it didn't even need to be cut, men's clothing, and Sean was gone. You guys, you see? And now we go to post 5. Red lights. As Ramona was...
Now, please tell me, you guys, what law enforcement officer would come upon a scene like that and see that and call that a self-unaliving situation? Anyone? Because I feel that any real law enforcement officer would have seen that and said no. But that was what they all said this was.
Driving home from the appointment, Maria called to say that Sean wasn't opening the door. She told Maria to call him. He was probably gaming upstairs with his brother. Oddly enough, all of the traffic lights were green on the way home except the last one. As she sat by the light, a fire engine and an emergency pickup truck came blazing past, and she suddenly felt ill. She muffled under her breath, "Please don't turn right," but they did. She sped up and watched them take the next right into her neighborhood. She thought, "Please, God, don't let them be at my house." The siren stopped, and she couldn't see the vehicles anymore. She turned left onto her lane and saw them all in front of her house. Ramona threw her SUV into park, told Baya that she was going in, and ran toward the backyard. They had an entrance on each side of the house, but the one on the right side was never used. In fact, from the road, you couldn't tell it was a gate because a bush was too close to it. Everyone was gathered near the gate on the right side of the house, but the gate on the left was wide open. Why? Ramona ran through the open gate on the left and saw everyone gathered under the swing set. She tried to focus and figure out what was happening. Suddenly, she saw this long body with naked legs laying on the ground and EMTs working around him. An officer rushed toward her and told her to move away and let the medics do their job. She heard the AED and saw his body rise from the ground and slam back down. Her knees hit the ground, and from the depths of a place she never knew existed, she screamed, "No." As Sean's body continued going up and down, a million thoughts were going through her mind. What was Sean doing outside? Did he fall? Was there an accident? As these thoughts were racing through the mind, she heard someone yell, Heartbeat. The police officer again insisted she step further back so that they could do their jobs. It then occurred to her that her toddler wasn't out there. Realizing that he wasn't outside, Ramona turned around to just see Maria running towards her. They both ran into the house with the officer right behind them. As Ramona turned the doorknob, it opened immediately. The door was unlocked. She ran forward and saw the Crocs upside down next to the two closed garbage bags on the floor that were ready to be taken out. She scanned the living room for her toddler and noticed two little legs hiding beneath a pile of laundry on their chair. She yelled his name, scooped him up, and he opened his eyes and started to cry. He was really limp and just out of it. He didn't seem like his normal self. Ramona ran to the front door, and it was locked as Maria had stated. They opened the door and ran outside to the front yard. She noticed a neighbor standing nearby with a landscaper. She ran up and yelled out, "What happened? Did you see what happened?" The neighbor said, "No." She turned towards the landscaper and mumbled, I don't know him who did it." Okay, I don't know him who did it. She ran over to the other neighbor on the other side who was also mowing the grass, and he too said that he didn't see anything. How could all of her neighbors be outside doing yard work and not see anything? The fence is only 3 feet tall. No matter who she asked, nobody saw anything and nobody knew anything. One neighbor even had several cameras affixed to his house that pointed into her yard, but they were disconnected and hadn't been recording in years. Ramona's husband was in Williamsburg with their middle son at ABA services and at least 35 to 45 minutes away. She needed help immediately, so she called her boss and told him that she thought Sean was dead and he said he'd be right over. She called her husband Jared and could only say that Sean was hurt really bad and that they were trying to revive him. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. He ran into the building, grabbed their son, and jumped into the car. Ramona watched as the ambulance with Sean pulled away, and they wouldn't let her ride with him. She hopped into the first responders' fire pickup truck, and they began backing out into the road. As they pulled out, Maria's boyfriend, AJ, and his mom pulled up. AJ jumped out to console Maria, and Jamie jumped out as well. She ran up to Ramona in the pickup and said, "What the F? Is he okay?" Ramona shook her head no, and asked Jamie to stay with Maria, Via, and the kids. Ramona asked the driver if he had an update on Sean, since the rig was far ahead of them, and he told her to have hope since they were able to get a few beats on the ground. Still in uniform, Ramona walked into the emergency room. They were expecting her. She was guided through a secure door down to where Sean was being worked on. There were nurses and doctors 3 rows deep in the hall, all watching and praying. A woman in the scrubs fell to her knees in prayer with tears pouring down her face. The crowd parted all at once and turned toward her to make way for the physician to come out. She stepped back, shook her head, and just screamed, "No," as the physician informed her that Sean was gone. Oh, my goodness. I'm just reading some of your messages. Oh no, what do the neighbors really think? They're like, nope, didn't see anything. We went over that earlier. Welcome, Crystal. 5 and 2, I believe. Maybe someone setting up the stepfather to look guilty, the boy's underwear in the master bedroom, and him wearing the stepfather's clothes, right? I know. The 2-year-old saw it all and was hiding, it sounds. So scary, right? Wow. On August 24th, this was after the police made their post. They said, "We are disappointed in the response from the York Pocahontas Sheriff's Office to our pleas for help. They released a video that's cold, uncaring, and defensive. They attempt to discredit our account of events by stating that our story is untrue. This video and the ME report featured contradict many things that they've said. We are asking them to allow an outside entity to investigate this case since they have no interest in going any further." I'll open that on another tab. I just want to... okay. How long is it? Okay, let's look.
And circulating social media, and with these signs popping up all over the peninsula, the community wants answers.
Losing a child is just one of the worst things that could ever happen to anyone, and we would never wish it on people you didn't even like.
Ramona and Jared Rivas say their 12-year-old son's death is suspicious. Sean Doherty was found hanging from a swing set in his backyard on April 14th. They have several concerns, one of them being this. The EMT report states, quote, law enforcement responded to a resident for a suicide.
When you arrive at the crime scene, the first thing you do is investigate crime because you don't know what it is.
Thank you, Miss
The
Cece.
Rivas family feels that there are too many questions from that day, to include the way Sean was found, with his arms
Thank you
bound
so
to his
very
sides,
much.
bag over his head, wearing his stepfather's clothes. They say he was shoeless, but his feet were clean.
He had nothing on his feet, and the feet were totally clean. As to get to the swing set this far.
The York Pocosin Sheriff's Office addressing that in a video statement on Tuesday, showing this picture of the swing set, saying the ground was dry. The Sheriff's Office also said this regarding the investigation.
Recent statements have caused concern in the community that the death of a 12-year-old on April the 14th, 2022
No idea,
has not
Molly.
been fully investigated by the Sheriff's Office, and that there may be a killer in our area that poses a threat. Nothing could be further from the truth.
The family doesn't agree, citing several reasons to include Sean's lack of history of depression or suicidality, as shown in this autopsy report.
By the way, when trying to apply for these documents, they say they can't give it to anyone because the investigation is still open. So it's only this news source from everything that we found, scoured the internet, that this is the only news source that has something.
Okay, so if this case is still open, why are they calling this a self-unaliving situation? Because when that is what the cause of death or mode of death is, I should say, it's done. Just like the Deborah Collier case. They said she unalived herself. It was done. That's it. Okay. But it's still open? Is that what she's saying? What's up, Red? Thanks for joining us. I have no idea, Molly, because we've always encouraged mothers, fathers, family members to ride with their children if something like that, or even a family member, if something like that happens, of course. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Jump in. Come on, we got to go. Every time. Why didn't they allow her to go? That's very odd. Sorry to say, but it is.
We know there's got to be someone out there that did this. Let's find that person and bring them to justice, because Sean deserves it. He's such a great kid. He deserves to have justice for him.
The Sheriff's Office also shedding light on DNA evidence, stating there was no DNA other than Sean's on the cord from which he was hanging.
Because it was a professional that did it.
They can speculate, and all we're trying to do is put the pieces together.
This community member, who didn't want her identity shown because of the backlash the What Happened to Sean's social media site is receiving, says all they want is for the case to be re-examined.
Really love to see those unanswered questions answered, and if that means bringing in an outside investigative service or a second set of eyes, then I don't see the harm in that.
News 3 also reached out to the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, who is responsible for this finding. Cause of death, hanging. The manner of death is suicide. They said, quote, when a family disagrees with the cause of death, our office gives the family an opportunity to present any new information that they feel is pertinent to our death investigation.
All of it.
The medical examiner will evaluate the new information to determine if the cause of death and or manner of death should be amended.
Of course
Stay
it
with
should.
News 3 on air and online for any updates.
Okay, so there's that news clip that we've just seen. We'll go back to
This is ridiculous.
Here. This is a picture of Sean, who died on April 14th, 2022. He was found on a swing set in his backyard. And it's just terrible. So for those of you asking, if you might just be joining now, thank you for being here. We would like justice for Sean Doherty, and of course, just for the police to care, you know, to if they say they fully investigated it, okay, then close the case or explain why you believe that this happened. Make it make sense. You know what I mean?
Right, like I say, make this make sense, because it doesn't.
The posts over here. They say, please sign, help us get our case investigated by another entity. So this would be the change.org petition that I shared with you guys over here.
And again, guys, if you guys want to go to this, I'm sure it's probably been signed completely. You can go check it out. I know I went and signed it a long time ago, but it doesn't seem like anything's happening from it. There has to be enough signatures by now. So I don't know so much if it's that life, love, and true crime. Remember what I said? Let's go back. The mother just got a job at the Pentagon, and both parents were high-ranking Air Force officers. Okay? Remember that. That's all I'm saying. And I said in the beginning, this case is all about power. Very big power.
So please do sign this if you can. What happened to Sean? I've got it in my description box because I've already signed it. Can I share it again? Yeah. Copy the link. I'm going to put it in here. If you could please sign it. Not too bad. 21,252. They need to get to 25,000. That's the first milestone. Fill in your name, last name, and email address. And remember to check your email and click the link to finalize your vote. Otherwise, it won't be tallied up here.
I agree, Vicky.
So let's continue on. August 25th, we are disappointed in the response from the York Pocahontas Sheriff's Office to our pleas for help. They released a video that's called Uncaring Defensive, as we saw this as well. They attempt to discredit our account of events by stating that our story is untrue. We are asking them to allow an outside entity to investigate this case since they have no interest in going any further. We unfortunately do have to address some things that were said in their video. Over the course of several weeks, we filmed the property and its surroundings to see if anyone would revisit the scene of the crime. There's an individual who has filmed numerous times throughout several nights. They showed a red mark on the wall from May 20th, 2022. This was a new red mark. When you wait 5 weeks to collect evidence, there will be new marks. This was one of the many spots throughout the house that were pointed out to investigators.
Especially when you have a 2-year-old.
No one knows if the 2-year-old was sleeping during the hour he was alone. No one else was there. Initially, it was assumed that he was, and the mother was grateful that he was unharmed and said so. Later in the evening, when she was reunited with her son, he said that there had been a man in the house. This was disclosed. We refer to the string as a shoelace type string because it was what the autopsy described it as. It's similar in size. It was from a motorcycle bag, and the bag was also on his head. The string, of course, had his DNA on it, as it was on his body. We provide leads to the police in the hopes that they would look into people who were in the area at the time. We didn't realize we'd be mocked for doing so. Shouldn't they be the ones looking for leads? This is what they choose to focus on. Instead of answering a few major questions that have been lingering for some time, Sean's arms were belted tightly to his body. How did he put a bag over his head and a string over that while having belted hands? Right. Sean's glasses were broken. He could not see. Where is the missing lens? Sean did not leave a note. He did not search how to unalive himself. He did not communicate with any strangers online. Sean submitted all of his upcoming assignments online as soon as he got home from school. He also prepared himself a snack, which was left.
Would Sean really leave his 2-year-old brother alone by himself to go do something like this? No. No, and no.
Uneaten on the counter. Sean was babysitting his little brother. There are dozens of things that do not add up. We are asking for another entity to take the case over and investigate with a fresh set of eyes. Isn't everyone entitled to a second opinion? Help us by signing our petition to get our case investigated on change.org. So it's change.org / what happened to Sean. Okay.
And at that, guys, we're going to leave it at that for today. Okay. This is why I wanted to bring this case back up. I've never been happy with the way this went. It makes me angry every time I talk about it, look at it, think about it, any of it, guys, because it's so wrong. It's so off. It's completely not what it is. Thank you, Cece. And I told you guys what it looks like, okay? And I just think that we need to look at it again a little bit more for a while. We may run into walls again like everybody has done in the past, okay? But at this point, it's worth my time, even if I do it by myself, okay? That little guy deserves that, and his mother and father and brother and sister deserve this. They all do. This is not fair. I am highly, highly, highly disgusted and disappointed with law enforcement over this because, like I said, I'm not a cop. Molly's not a cop. Cece's not a cop. Vicky's not a cop. None of us are law enforcement officers, guys. But if any one of us walked up on this scene, each and every one of us would know this is not what happened. And I know, due to my, again, I've seen these real situations where this is real multiple times. I have, unfortunately, in my line of work. It is what it is. That is not how that would have went. Whatever happened to this poor child happened inside that home. And he was tied up and wrapped up and brought outside and staged to make it look like that happened. Again, remember, this is not going to cut off the airway to your windpipe. No. And 3 fingers, there's no slip knot on a shoestring to do that. It's all wrong, guys. It's all wrong. I'm sorry. And again, that's why it was important to bring this back up. Okay? And again, every one of you has the right to make your comments. And if you're not comfortable with this, please let me know. Throw it in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to go over this. I need to know these things. Yeah, and that's the thing, Molly, that bugs me. That little boy saw this. The little boy knows. And I'm kind of scared for his little brother. He was 2 and could not really talk very well and make sense. But 2-year-olds have good memories, guys. They remember things. And what's to say when this kid's 5 years old? He just doesn't say it. That scares me for him. That's what I'm afraid of. This is so disgusting. I'm sorry. I'm so disgusted with this whole thing. I'm so disappointed in this law enforcement agency because I know that they know that that's not what this is. Thank you, Cece. And there's going to be more. There's going to be more. Like I said, I feel bad that I concentrated so much on Idaho, but I was asked to, guys. Not specifically here in the chat, but I was getting DMs and emails from people saying, hey, let's do this. Hey, can you talk about this? Can you do that? And, I'm trying to keep everybody happy, but we need to come back, guys. We need to do it right. Okay. We need to be the voice for the voiceless. Sean has had no voice and his family's voices are being ignored. Okay. And they have been ignored. So we need to put our voices out there, just as Gisela put hers out there. And again, guys, if you haven't checked her out, go check out Gisela. I love the way she does things. She's really good. I love the way she had this video set up. She's very thorough, and I want to support her as well with this. So this is what I'm going to be doing, guys, is we're going to be bringing some, some of this stuff to keep it from being completely cold. These people deserve justice, guys. True justice, as I always say. And I stand for that, as do you, because you're here. And that's what I love you guys for. Okay? So we're going to be coming back into these tomorrow. We're going to finish up where we left off here and move on through what we were going to do. There's a couple new cases that just popped off over the past couple week or so that are pretty crazy that we need to look at and get rolling too. Meanwhile, don't forget, we are going to be sticking with the Idaho trial when that starts off. So we didn't lose that, guys. Don't worry. There's going to be some days that we're going to pick specific different things. I got great moderators that are working with me to help set this stuff up the right way. Please give them a virtual round of applause because they deserve it. They very well deserve it. Mama Bear, Molly Drake, Schmovie Pants, Squirrel Sandwich, Brandy, Cece. My moderators are amazing, and I want them all to be recommended for what they do, or not recommended. Oh my God, I just went brain dead. To get the love for what they do. There you go. I love you guys. Moderators, you're amazing, and I thank you so much. I couldn't do this without you. Subscribers, family, meatballs, I love you all. for one for you, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And Heather, I didn't say Heather, I'm sorry. But I love you guys to death. I do. All you guys. Anybody that has donated to the PayPal, Venmo, and or the Cash App, thank you for that. There weren't no super chats or nothing today, so that's no problem. But anybody else, guys, thank you so much for supporting this channel, for getting me to where I am, for keeping me where I am, and for wanting to come in and see me when you do, for wanting to hang with me, for wanting to be a meatball, and for having the passion that we have to try to be a voice for these crimes that are needless and they need to be, again, they need to be handled, and there needs to be true justice in all these cases, guys. So thank you. I love you guys to death. I really do. And I will see you all so very soon. Don't forget to love yourselves and love each other, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay.